I got Alec Nava here with me. First, let's get in the lineups. Head coached by Chris Knoblocher of the Edmonton Oilers. It's Connor McDavid, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Corey Perry, Darnell Nurse, Evan Bouchard, Leon Draisaitl, Evander Kane, Kasperi Kapanen, Matthias Ekholm, John Klingberg, Adam Henrique, Trent Frederick, Connor Brown, Matthias Janmark, Vasily Podkolzin, Victor Arvidsson, with Brett Kulak and Jake Wellman, per usual. Stuart Skinner will be the goaltender of record. And for Paul Maurice and the Florida Panthers, it sounds like this: Alex Barkov, Carter Verhaeghe, Sam Reinhart, Gustav Forsling, Aaron Ekblad, Sam Bennett, Evan Rodriguez, Matthew Tkachuk, Nico Mikkola, and Zeph Jones. And Tom Lundell, Eetu Luostarinen, and Brad Marchand. They did a lot of damage in Game 2. We'll see what's going to happen in Game 3. Tomas Nosek, AJ Greer, Jonah Gadjevich, with Nate Schmidt and Dmitry Kulikov. Sergei Bobrovsky will be the goaltender of record. Now, I know Alec just worked yesterday as far as the NBA Finals in Game 2 when the Thunder got a big win, but I can bet, Mr. Nava, you're still thinking about that Game 2 a few nights ago in the Stanley Cup playoffs. What an amazing one it was. Florida won 5-4 in double overtime.
It was. The more bizarre realization than the Game 2 that just happened is perhaps it's the fact that Matthew Tkachuk has just 1 point through 2 finals games. That being an assist in Game 1. He did get a net front screen on Dmitry Kulikov's goal. But we'd wonder if there's the breakout performance that we are waiting for from him, knowing the big impact that he can make. Now, we do know he's been playing banged up throughout this postseason. That's been widely known. That he's not looking like his usual self over in past years, but he's willing to take the big risks. That means playing through injuries, and that he is right now. He didn't even have a single point in Game 2. And if the Panthers, they can keep this up from what they had in Game 2, perhaps Game 3 could be a similar story. That said, they're just 4-3 at home, and their power play numbers at home ice have not been at the level that they were on the road. It's a tale of two locations. When being at home, they've converted over 40% of their power. They're on the road, they've converted over 40% of their power plays, but at home, that number is just under 4%, which is a bizarre revelation. But penalty killing numbers are still good for Florida. Edmonton, it's pretty much similar of a tale of two different locations, except for them, it's the penalty kill. They're excellent at home, but on the road, ouch.
Yeah, and again, you talk about some of those numbers, Alec, that you mentioned beautifully. When you think about all the penalties, I'm not even sure how to put Game 2 into words. We're going to try to do that a little bit in this pregame. There was 11 total penalties in that opening period, and especially in the second. We've talked about that a lot in this series. That is when the Cats put the pedal to the metal. That is the only spot that we've seen the Edmonton Oilers be a little bit suspect in that second period. Again, Bennett scored his 13th. That was the 12th playoff goal on the road, which set an NHL record. He had a cross-body shot from Evander Kane. You had the musings of Connor McDavid with the setup on the Leon Draisaitl special past Ekblad and Barkov. And then things got really crazy. A short-handed break for Brad Marchand, and then ended up getting the game winner. He's the first player in NHL history to have a short-handed breakaway goal and a game-winning breakaway goal in double overtime to help the Panthers take Game 2.
That's insane thinking about Brad Marchand, who's been around the NHL since the 2011 season when he was a rookie with the Boston Bruins when he first won the Stanley Cup with them. He's so reliable where he's at. Between Boston and Florida, we imagine him being a Florida Panther for the rest of his career. And who knows where from there, whether he retires as a Bruin or a Panther, yet to be determined. But DJ Khaled doing the pregame festivities before the anthems.
So Bobrovsky was 42 of 46 in the win. Skinner was 37 of 42 in the loss. I know, Cooper, you got to watch a little bit of Game 2 before we're getting underway here in Game 3. What did you think of it?
Oh, well, John, you and I'm certain agree, and Alec, I know you will as well, and good evening to you guys. This is going to be a fantastic night tonight, and if it is anything, here's my answer. If it is anything like what we saw in Game 2, this could already be at just even short of the halfway point in the Stanley Cup Final, one of the most memorable finals of all time. I know that sounds like a bold statement, but the type of hockey that we've seen in the first two games is, I dare say, unprecedented. The skill level, the desire is on display. It's special stuff that we're watching.
Now, I'm not saying this just to say it, but I saw some of the videos that Alec had posted before that was making its way on social media of Bouchard and Brad Marchand in the skating space that was there. Marchand got away with a sneaky little trip, maybe a little bit of a slew foot. We had some of the push there alongside Sam Bennett and Stuart Skinner. We know that Florida's going to play like sandpaper, but I'm wondering now, as this series shifts to sunrise, is Edmonton going to be able to match this first period? I know the second period has been the big battle for them to be able to undertake because Florida's had complete control, but I would expect the Florida Panthers to be ready and shot out of the cannon. We'll see what the Oilers can do. Last year, they did pretty good after that 3-0 series deficit, but this is going to be pressure magnified, I think, tonight.
Yeah, as you said it. When you look at the goal differential on the road and at home, Florida has a 56-29 goal differential on the road. They're an even 18-18 at home. Blanked twice, and even though most of the efforts have been tightly contested games, save for Game 3 of the East quarterfinals and Game 3 of the East finals, it's been mostly tightly contested every time they played at Amaranth Bank Arena for the games that they've played, the Panthers, that is. But we need to see them account for everything. And we're waiting for Tkachuk to have to break out, as I said. He had just won the Panthers 60 hits of Game 2.
What do you see from Chuck E. Cheese and Sam Bennett, Cooper?
Well, you know, those guys are near and dear to my heart. They spent a lot of quality time with the other team in Wild Rose Country in Canada. That's, of course, Alberta, and we're talking about the Calgary Flames. And they certainly did a lot there, made a great impact, not only on the ice, but in the community. And it's been a joy as a Flames fan to watch them succeed the way they have. Obviously, it would have been fantastic for it to be with Calgary, but the fact that they're doing what they're doing in Florida is really special. I think Sam Bennett is doing what everyone thought that he would do when he was drafted so high. He was a first-round pick a number of years ago. And, of course, Matthew Tkachuk was one of the future chosen faces of the NHL from an early age. And he and his brother certainly were identified as top talent many years back. But making it come to life is a different story. Sam Bennett has come to life. Alec, you set it up beautifully. Can Chucky come to life here? It's not that he's completely flatlined by no stretch. But what we need to see is simply points, right? We need to see goals. We need to see assists. And as DJ Khaled would say, the Panthers, I think, even more than the Oilers, need another one. Whoever takes this win, I think, really starts to put their foot on the throat of this series.
Well, I'm loving the festivities that they got now in Florida in the mix of the World War II veteran that's there, the announcers, the intros, and everything else. That's absolutely top-notch to me. I might sound like a homer on the side of the Cats, but they've been doing a great job with this.
I mean, they're making it look like a hockey city now over the past few years, ever since Bill Zito was the GM. But, man, what a turnaround for the Panthers. They're such an enjoyable team for everyone down over the south side of Florida.
I'm going to let you in, Alec. You're going to go ahead and start in this first. Again, I let off in the last, so hopefully you get the crazy that I got in the first period, and then we can mix in between us. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm due for some wet weather in about another hour and a half or so. So if the space happens to disappear with me in it, then you're going to be in course duty, Alec, to get that correction and across, and then I'll jump back in as soon as I can. Other than that, it'll be sunny skies for the next couple of days, but we will have a 3-day break after this Game 3 is done. So I'm hoping that these teams that have taken their previous 3 days rest amplify all their effort, and then we'll see again in the next few days. But either way, what we have today is a swing game. One of these teams is going to go up 2-1. Those are always the biggest in the series.
Well, historically, the Oilers have been good when on series that are tied 1-1 all time. We know for a fact this is one of those swing games. And I made this prediction to Ian yesterday when the Thunder beat the Pacers. And I said to him, if the Panthers win tonight, the Oilers take Game 4.
So you got to split either way. What about you, Cooper?
You know what? I think that home cooking is going to make a difference here. I was listening to some SiriusXM NHL Network radio today, and of course they are based in Toronto, and so a lot of those gentlemen on air were leaning just ever so slightly toward the Oilers taking this game tonight. I'm going to go US of A. I'm going to say that the Panthers do what needs to get done here at home. I think that they're looking like they have the fire in their eyes tonight. Of course, they're facing two of the best players in the world and a heck of a team and a heck of a goaltender, Stuart Skinner, on the other side. But I think it's going to be just enough. It'll be close, but I'm going to make the prediction now. This will be the first regulation win of this Stanley Cup Final. I'm going to call a 5-4 win for the Panthers in regulation.
So we're just going to have nothing but high-scoring games in this series then.
It seems so.
Nine's a magic number, they say in math, and let's see if the magic is with the Panthers this evening. We are soon to find out, gentlemen. It's going to be a great one.
I'm not sure which way to lean, admittedly, Alec, on the side of it. I think there is going to be split, but I might be thinking Cooper is right in the sense of we talk about a 4-3 home ice in the playoffs here for the Panthers. That has got to get better. And what better way to try to get it done now after this break? You got the big crowd there in front of you. All the festivities set you up. Everybody's got to be juiced. Go out and get the job done today. I'm going to go ahead and say we'll get a repeat of the scoreline of Game 1, but no OT. I'll say 4-3 Cats.
Oh, guess the common theme is a one-goal game. In fact, if this was a one-goal game, it would be the 6th consecutive one-goal game that these two teams would have played, regular season games included, because the Panthers, they took both regular season games by 1 goal. 6-5 at Edmonton, 4-3 at Florida. Bam Adebayo in the house. 2 years ago, he was with the Miami Heat team that made it to the NBA Finals, that lost to the Denver Nuggets in 5, but they were the second 8th-seeded team to make it to the NBA Finals. Good of Bam to bring the drum here.
I was going to say, him and Udonis Haslem, especially Udonis, he's got to be Florida royalty at this point.
Dwayne Wade, too.
We haven't even dropped the puck yet, and then both of you gentlemen, especially you, Alec, you're bringing the stats tonight. You got the NBA references, you got the 1-1, the series references. You got the book open. I am impressed, guys. We got a long way to go, and we're already in beautiful form. It's fantastic.
That's what happens when I get you three gentlemen together here on the broadcast. It's gonna be a lot of fun, Alec. I'm looking forward to you taking this away. We're expecting another good one. Let's hope we get it.
Maybe a 4-3 or 5-4 type of game. I feel I'm going to lean towards the 4-3 type of game. But here we go here. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. We have shifted from Edmonton to Miami. As Corey Perry keeps his one inside, Perry wanted to wrap it. It'll be guided on back towards the right point for Bouchard. Lost one towards the net. And Bobrovsky with the first save at this game. Early deflection.
Yeah, no surprise to see Corey Perry already in front of the net, man. He's aged like fine wine with the Edmonton Oilers.
Yes, he has. And boys, I'll give you just a fair warning, John. This has happened to us from time to time. I'm about 8 or 9 seconds behind the broadcast here on my TNT feed in Los Angeles. But I'll stick with you, and we'll have a good call tonight.
Absolutely.
And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who was a game-time decision before this game, he got the green light from Chris Knobloch. He is good to go. He is battling for an undisclosed injury. And curiously, it was not RNH taking his face-off. It was Corey Perry. RNH didn't take a single face-off from the second period onwards of Game 2. And perhaps that injury may be attested to that. Back inside the Oilers. It gets slowed up. Here's Corey Perry wide open. Walker saved by Big Bob as this goes out.
Yeah, there's a lot of tumbles there entering the right side of the blue line. A little bit of a half spin falling down past the sit-up Perry. Bobrovsky had to come up pretty big.
Yeah, not surprised to see McDavid make the zone entry right there. And even as he was falling down, he gets the setup done. And that was a fantastic play from the best player in the world.
Yeah, none better than what we saw in Game 2 with that ridiculous assist to Leon Draisaitl. But that would have been a gorgeous apple if Perry scored that. Draisaitl's tossed out. Elgin Evander Kane taking his faceoff. He has taken faceoffs before. He loses one to Anton Lundell. 8 combined first period goals between these two, the most throughout 2 games of a Stanley Cup Final. Since you have to go back to the 20th century, the 1990s, Stuart Skinner sees one go his way, and he'll cover.
Yeah, that third line, as we mentioned, alongside Lucerine, Lundell, and Marchand, they've really had their name in this series as we expected them from the preview show. That is something that Edmonton's going to have to key in on and try to close them down if they want to try to lift the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, you know what I like there? Something really simple. That wasn't even really technically a shot on goal, but the Panthers just need to get that puck after just under a minute elapsed here. Just get it to Skinner. Just make him do something, and now they feel like they're off the schneid at least.
At least they're doing that, and they're on the attack with this third line. The most dangerous line on the ice. Back out in front of bounces. Right in front for Marchand. He scores!
You gotta be kidding me. He does it again. Big rebound out in front. There was gonna be a power play for the Cats. That's turned away, and they scored not even inside the first minute.
Wow, this is incredible play, boys. Just a bouncing puck. We're talking pinball out in the slot, and none other than Brad Marchand, 63. He may be diminutive on the ice, but he is big on the score sheet and making a huge difference in this series. Boy, you think he's in the later stages of his career? He looks like he's 24 years old right now. He's on fire.
As especially the case in these last two games, his third goal of the finals, and might be an early candidate for Conn Smythe Trophy right now, emerging from the shadows on this third line. That's how low this Panthers roster is. But if if the Panthers do win the Stanley Cup, look for Marchand to be a Conn Smythe Trophy finalist. Jake Wallman sends it up the near side. And again, the Oilers find themselves trailing as this goes offside. It earlier appeared that the Oilers would go on the power play, but that's not the case.
And Al, I gotta mention this too. Every single time there's a loose puck on that side of that third line, doesn't Anton Lundell seem to be a magnet there for Brad Marchand? He sets up every play.
It's incredible stuff, guys. I mean, the motor on Lundell and Marchand, and when you add those two together, I mean, that is horsepower. They move their feet nonstop, constantly battling physically. Marchand, just prior to his shot, had been on his knees with his back to the net. Incredible.
Both teams fighting for the loose puck as the serenades begin. This icing is waved off as Podkolzny ties up his man. At the far half boards, the Panthers will go back to work. Near side Bennett. For Rodriguez, back for Bennett, and that's swept away. Brett Kulak will start the action up through the far side. It's held in by the Cats, but touched by the Oilers, and they'll get this one out. It was a delayed whistle. Towards the right side, it'll be Wallman, who'll wait, but gets sticked away by Mikkola, the ex-Blue. Back for Nate Schmidt, who is on this third pairing side. Mikkola again, down the near side. And all the way for Skinner, who'll play this one out towards the near corner. Bouchard gets this one down and bounces up and collected for an offside against Seth Jones.
Cooper, what do you make of Seth Jones on the Cats?
I think he's been an incredible addition, and it's just another veteran on this group who has seen a lot of difficult regular seasons, right? He's had some time on other teams that have certainly not had the success that the Panthers have had during their reign. Now he's making an impact in the playoffs, and I think that there's a hunger there that you need where there's a player or two or three or a handful who haven't won it yet who need to get one, and it's been incredible.
He has been very impactful on the second pairing side for the Cats. Through the far corners collected by Edmonton. So far the first period has been dominated by the Panthers. Gadjevich down low. AJ Greer, who got the all-clear signal from Paul Maurice ahead of this game. He gets this one back deep towards the left point. Mikkola. Back for Greer, who knocks this down for Gadjevich. Shoved away. Greer picks it up. Over back for Jones, who waits and risks one. Well wide of the crease. Gadjevich knocked this one away. It'll land on the Trent Frederick. Another former Boston Bruin alongside Greer and Marchand. Up the far boards, Gadjevich, the former San Jose Shark. We'll get this all the way down for Skinner. And starting up is John Klingberg. You defense pairs for the Oilers as they put Klingberg next to Matthias Ekholm. It is McDavid out there as RNH with him. Nugent-Hopkins gets cut off by Sam Reinhart, and Alexander Barkov gets ran into along the far side. Knocked away, and Florida will control it across the ice. Verhaeghe with Gustav Forsling heading up towards the front. Verhaeghe, or Forsling, kick saved by Skinner. Near corner, it is controlled on the rebound by Perry. Getting this all the way down. Will this be landing onto Bobrovsky? Yes, it will. Picked up by the Oilers, down towards the ice. Back behind the net as Perry sells this one down for Bouchard. Across for Nurse. Bouchard one more time. He waits. He'll survey. He'll fire. And it's gloved down by Officer Bob.
And he had a chance right up the middle of the ice. That was a good kick save, much needed there for Stuart Skinner. I don't think at this point, gentlemen, the Oilers could afford to go down 2-0, considering what's been happening to them in the middle stanza.
Oh, and Gustav Forsling with the setup afterwards, yes. As we get started here on the Panther zone, Nico Mikla across for Brad Marchand. And here's a whistle, but Marchand last touching it. Trip.
We're going to see what we get here. I got a stoppage at 16:38 on my side. I got Anton Lundell. I think he got a stick inside Dreisaitl's foot. That should be a trip. We'll see what we get.
Yes, it is.
Hopefully everything else is going well in the space. I'm not losing anything on my side. But we got a power play here for the Oilers.
Yeah, it seems that I couldn't hear Cooper for a bit. So try to get that connection reestablished while we can. But right now it's the Oilers on the man advantage. 1-0 Panthers, they lead in game 3. The penalty kill for the Panthers, 86.8%. Top-ranked penalty kill among teams remaining. And this puck goes out of play.
It's a pretty auspicious start here. Again, just 3 shots apiece, as you mentioned, Alec. Now we're getting a little clarification here for the Zebras, just in case I think where they want to plant this face-off. But as we said, it's a much-needed start for Florida. You want to get on the front edge with the home ice after this long layoff. And if you're the Oilers, I would say, you know what? If you can keep this within a goal, maybe 2, as long as it doesn't get completely away from you, probably feel just fine with where they're at, too.
Free to shots as Paul Maurice looks onwards. So about 6 seconds gone here on this Oiler power play. The Panthers have been much better on the road. They need to match that home, make home ice advantage count. Because so far, it hasn't been the case for them just yet. 4-3 at home ice as this faceoff's won by the Oilers. Bouchard controls, manning the point as he surveys. Near quarters, McDavid centering pass in front. Perry couldn't knock this one home. Bouchard's all the way back towards the near side. It is Draisaitl. All the way back for Bouchard. McDavid towards the left circle. McDavid over to RNH. And a pass missed from RNH back to McDavid. Stuart Skinner will come out of his crease towards the far quarter. And it's set up for Bouchard. Evan Bouchard will load up towards the near side boards. Drop pass for McDavid. McDavid towards the near side. Speeding up. McDavid cuts towards the near corner. Almost lost it. But it's saved inside. Draisaitl under control. He wants to go back around. Towards the right point, he does. Bouchard walking. Loses Losterinen. And drop for Draisaitl. McDavid again. Near corner. He surveys. Out in front and bounces. Another drop passes. Bouchard. He tees one up. A bouncing puck. Comes loose and swept away by Bobrovsky off the stick. Oilers controlling the point here with Bouchard. Evan Bouchard still under control. Loose stick is on the ice as the Panthers trying to block several passes. McDavid. Oh, space to shoot. Saving the rebound. Airmailed from Draisaitl. The best opportunity on his power play, and Draisaitl couldn't tie the game up. Bouchard drops it for RNH. Towards the left circle, McDavid to RNH again. Bouchard waits. From the high slot, he fires one. Blocked out of play. The Panthers' PK continues to hold firm.
That's got to be a miserable feeling for Tomas Nosek. Had his stick broken. He's trying to do whatever he can. He blocks with the glove. It's kicked out of the way. Bobrovsky with a ridiculous save. And as you mentioned, it got sticked out of the air before it got to Draisaitl. Otherwise, he could have potted it into a wide-open net.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, gentlemen. I'm always good for one of those. But we're back in business, and boy, Bobrovsky's had to be in business as well. What a power play. Just dominant offensive zone time. And Bob takes one off the mask, bouncing pucks in front. It's been a wild man advantage for the Oilers.
And they got the second unit out there now. Arvidsson, Kane, Henrique, the free forwards. 2 defensemen, Klingberg and Wallman, who have been so good at pairing together. Klingberg lofts one ahead. Towards the left point, controlled by Wallman. Wallman gets this one around far quarter. Back for Klingberg. Loads one up. Fires. Kick save. He's out of his crease. Gets right back into it. Arvidsson delivers back over to Wallman and then Klingberg. Back for Wallman. Deep left point. These two going tape to tape as Wallman will look. And a whistle. Penalty here. I think this is going to go against the Oilers.
Cross-check on Evander Kane. As I see it out in front, he gets a piece of force sling for absolutely no reason.
And I'm getting this play in real time here. Well, a little bit of a delayed time for me, guys. And I'm taking a look at this as well. And yeah, absolutely no reason for Kane to make that kind of play. He gets whistled right away, and that could be a turning point in this first period with Florida already up 1.
And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had the best look off the rebound to try and catch Sergei Bobrovsky out of his crease, but he completely airmails his shot. It's not 9 seconds of 4-on-4 before the Panthers have a power play to work with. 151 of such. At home, Bobrovsky 3-1, 151 GAA, 939 save percentage in last year's Stanley Cup Final. So that's his home stats. The home cooking could be a something, but that hasn't been the case this season for the Panthers and Bobrovsky, who's on the second to last year of his 7-year contract. Oilers win this faceoff, and Echo will wait timeout up the far boards. It'll be collected up by Nate Schmidt. Schmidt gets it for Bennett. They'll start with the second unit. Bennett fires one, and is stopped by Skinner with the glove, and he'll cover.
I mean this in the best way possible. I'm not sure what's happening to Nate Schmidt as far as his game as a member of the Florida Panthers, but if I'm him, I'm making sure I get my stay in Sunrise as well, because he just makes pinpoint passes all over the ice.
Yeah, no question about it. I think the Panthers have realized that in order to take this series, which I assume at this point will go 7, you have to match the offensive skill level and focus of your opponent, and they've been doing so far tonight.
In this finals, he has a team-leading 4 assists. He's been outstanding under Paul Maurice's system, no matter if it is in Florida or Winnipeg. He did spend a short stint with the Winnipeg Jets. That spanned several seasons, though it ended unceremoniously as his game looked to be falling off a cliff. Up the far side, Marchand. Marchand looks and is poked away by the Oilers. That to be getting their penalty killing right back up to speed, especially on the road. Skinner, and another whistle here. We'll have to see what it's for.
I think it's just a standard offsides here, Alex. Somebody was a mile off. That's still going to be in a minute 20 here for the Florida on their power play. Again, they've only scored, as you mentioned, 1 power play goal at home ice. They're almost like 3.8%. Hopefully they can improve that.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot for Florida where you want to take advantage of anything that the Oilers give you. You know how narrow the margins are. So with 1:20 to go, I'm looking for Florida to up this lead by 1 and make it 2-zip.
Here comes Aaron Ekblad up the near corner, going to Sasha Barkov across the ice. Reinhart missed it. It'll be Jones on the hole, deep right point. Reinhart going around the horn for Ekblad. The first 2 picks of 2014. All the way back, the pass missed. And the Cats will have to restart. Seth Jones, formerly the 4th overall pick of the draft that came before. Barkov was number 2 in that draft. Across for Tkachuk. Tkachuk holds left circle. Across the ice. Oh my goodness, that came close. All the way back out is Ekblad. Ekblad deep shot. No deflection from Tkachuk. Ekholm tried to sweep it away. Barkov on the hole. Tkachuk as well. Tkachuk center one off for Reinhart, who's closed off. Jones has already to shoot. He comes right out in front. Jones will go back towards Ekblad. Ekblad sends one for Jones near corner. Ekblad's all the way out. Ekblad going back for Jones. Oilers PK being aggressive here. One-timer. Pad save Skinner. Sensing danger, he'll hold on.
I'm sure you boys saw that with the entry in the middle of the ice as we get the camera shot. Staple gun level passing in between Reinhart and Barkov, and then just missing toward the right side post off a backdoor tip. My goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to give Tkachuk credit. He looks like he has some great vision tonight, so we'll see if he can contribute.
It almost was the 2-0 goal for the Cats and Sam Reinhart. The number 4 pick, Sam Bennett, has 12 road goals this postseason, the most of the single postseason, which beat out Mark Scheifele in 2018 with the Winnipeg Jets. Bennett's on the ice, and the Oilers win 1-2 cleanly that it reaches Skinner.
Yeah, to start this again, still 21 seconds remaining on the power play. Just the 1 shot for them so far with the man advantage. It seems like Edmonton had 8, but Bobrovsky stopped them all.
Still looking at that Reinhart replay. He should have had that second goal.
He should have. Though it was very close. Deep shot was stopped by Skinner. No rebound, so it was cleared all the way out by the Oilers. With 10 seconds, it is Bobrovsky. He'll reset for Seth Jones. The previous work, the number 3 being Keith Yandel. Towards the left side, Verhaeghe deflects this one inside. That'll run out the power play. At the far corner, Kulak almost gives it up. Now he does. Bennett forced out by McDavid. Swings it around for Verhaeghe. Out of his reach, the Oilers will pick it up. Moved up for the far side. McDavid wants to get around Mikkola, but Mikkola is right there. Starting things up for the far side, the pass missed, and Skinner calls icing.
Hey, you guys hold on for me for a second. I'll be right back.
Alec, what do you like so far in each of these teams' games? It seems like the Panthers have picked up and really taken most of the momentum. But the Oilers did start out in that first 2 or 3 shifts or so looking sharp. What are you seeing so far?
That's the case here. That power play may give the Oilers the edge in the shots on goal, but the Panthers, they mostly quelled the Oilers' momentum that they've generated over the third period onwards. First period's been a dogfight between both teams. Second period's where the Panthers, they do have the edge. Third period, that may be Oilers as Forsling shoved out the way. Up towards the middle as Edmonton brings it back up with John Klingberg. Towards the near side, puck bounced up. Bobrovsky stays in its net. The Oilers in pursuit. Through that near corner side, Evander Kane stick lifts his man. And that's going to be another whistle as Brad Marchand got in the midst of it. And he's feeling something. Is Kane going to go after the box again?
Yeah, he's getting hooked in toward the right side of the faces, Marchand.
Oh, yes, he is.
Yeah, I'm seeing it right now. Because of my delay, I'm actually getting to follow up here. And yeah, Marchand really got that. I think it was the shaft of the stick right into the upper lip. And it looks like 91 in white going again.
Ooh.
So a couple, as Cooper said, for Evander Kane, just the one reset for you. 56 seconds in, that third line, Marchand from Lindell and Lusterinen. That's the only goal. And Cooper had mentioned this already, 9 for 9 for Bobrovsky, getting about 7 of those on the power play. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the Oilers' power play. It was just Bobrovsky on his A++ game.
He has, stopping everything and standing on his head. We know this Bobrovsky from last year's finals, especially at home.
We've already had 18 face-offs as well, gentlemen. Edmonton's up 12-5 in that area.
Yeah, there's been a lot of puck covering, and I mean, you're going to get some of that, especially when you have multiple power plays. And of course, when we come back from the media break, we're going to have another. And John, while you stepped away, I was actually just talking to Alec about the fact that it seemed like the Oilers were the best version of themselves in their first 2 or 3 shifts in the game. That first minute and a half. Obviously, we have some special teams that change momentum, flip things from one side to the other. But really, by and large, the Panthers have, and I understand it's partly because of the goal, but just eye test. It looks like the Panthers have a good chunk of the momentum right now.
They do. I think the goal, as you said, that's the most important part of it. But I think the one thing that I've noticed here through about 2 games and 8 minutes of this period, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I see 2 teams, regardless of the situation, this has been overtime, double overtime, none of them seem bothered. They just continue to run their game, and it's been amazing to watch.
And some of the young guys here of recent NHL draftees, including, I believe, Connor Bedard here in the building watching Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final.
Well, at some point, you would imagine Connor Bedard's going to want to be in one of these, and he's just going to get to take it in right now. But I think his sights are still going to be very, very high.
Yep, absolutely. Alec, you stole the thought right out of my brain. I'm sure that he enjoys being around games of this caliber, but there's got to be a little bit of a bitter taste in his mouth thinking, when is it my turn?
Yeah, you wonder, because soon enough, but first step for Kyle Davidson and company for that front office is to give him ample support. Probably a Mitch Marner could be, as his faceoff is won by Edmonton. Matthias Ekholm couldn't pick it up. His teammate Adam Henrique could, but it's a foot race for this puck, won by Seth Jones, and the Panthers turn it over. And the Oilers get first say on this penalty kill with special teams. So special teams so far has been the Oilers with the edge. So the Panthers, they have their say on looks, especially the Matthew Tkachuk to Sam Reinhart feed. Barkov to Tkachuk. Tkachuk will look back for Barkov across the ice. Pass is blocked by Nurse. Reinhart gets this one all the way back to awaiting Ekblad. Ekblad closed off. Going to Jones. Now down low for Tkachuk. Will look behind the net. Slung it back for Barkov. The pass over a stick. It'll be grabbed by RNH. Sticked away. Barkov will reset for Jones. And now it is Reinhart. Reinhart tried to move this one down. Brett Kulak couldn't get his hand on the puck to glove it down, and the Panthers keep it. One-touch feed down low for Barkov, away from Brett Kulak. At that far corner, it'll be the Oilers. They can't get this one out. It'll be held inside the far half boards. Tkachuk, it's shoved, and the Oilers will get this one down and out, but not just all the way out, as it's just held in, as Ekblad looks towards behind the net for Reinhart. Tkachuk waits, he'll fire, and it's stopped by Skinner. He gets it right back as the puck came back towards him. Ekblad moves it all the way back towards the point, where it's Reinhart. Ekblad sandwich at the near half boards. Connor Brown there. The Oilers finally trying to get this one out of the zone, and they will. 27 on the power play, and both teams will change units. Jones slowing up. It'll be McDavid out there, the most underrated penalty killer on the Oilers. He covers all 200 feet. Jones dropping for Rodriguez, and Jones will go out for his change. You're getting Nate Schmidt on. One-on-one chance here, shorthanded for the Oilers. Support is coming with Kapanen. A stick lift. And with 5 seconds to go, it'll be the Panthers moving this one up the far side. No 2-on-1. Sam Bennett. Power play is over. From the right circle, Rodriguez. Good save by Skinner. It's slapped along the near boards. Schmidt picks it up. Nate Schmidt towards the near side for Bennett. Knocked away. And Edmonton will pick this one up at center ice. Carrying it back inside Podkolzin. And they're offside with 9:51.
Did Brad Marchand just break his stick trying to provide a screen out in front? There wasn't a lot of velocity on that. And again, we might have a penalty the other way as we go to break. I know they were mixing for end zones, so maybe had too many men. We'll see if we get it when we come back.
Yeah, gentlemen, I'm taking a look right now as my break has yet to start. I'm seconds away here, but let's see if I can get a little clarification. This is happening in real time, but no, the cameras are going to cut away here. And yeah, we're getting a little replay here of the Marchand goal. But John, I think you ID'd it correctly. Marchand snapped the blade of his stick off. It was tough to tell because the blade ended up in the net. I want to remind Brad that do what you did before. Puck goes in net, not stick blade.
That's the funniest way to put that, but nonetheless, it is what Brad Marchand needs to put the puck in the net. But I know the Oilers had their chances, but the Panthers stay firmly established control.
You know what? And I hate to say it this way for the Cats, but didn't it seem like on the power play side for the couple of chances that we've got, this just doesn't seem to be the same team that's used to either playing shorthanded or even strength. They looked rather pedestrian.
Yeah, you know what's interesting, John, and I was actually going to step into a comment similar to what you just mentioned, is that the Panthers actually had a pretty decent amount of zone time on that last man advantage, but I don't know if I can remember a team spending that much time in the O-zone on a power play and being less impactful with it. The Oilers did a great job of keeping the puck to the perimeter. There was one shot, I believe, that I don't think even made it officially on net. And really the most important moment of that power play for the Panthers was actually a defensive play coming 2-on-2 the other way. The Oilers had a great chance from inside the far circle, and there was a really active poke check that saved Bobrovsky from having to make a huge stop. So not the most efficient power play. Obviously, you'd rather spend that time being a man up, but the Panthers certainly didn't do a lot with it, and that's credit to the Oilers defense.
Hey, Alec, as you jump in, I got the camera shot. The Oilers had too many eyes. They had 7 players on the ice.
Oh my goodness. 7 players on the ice on that sequence. That all you could do is just laugh. Just chuckling a bit as the Panthers back on the power play. It's their 3rd power play. They have yet to score on the man advantage. And then again, the only special teams goal that happened last game for the Panthers came shorthanded. The Oilers power play did their thing with McDavid setting up Draisaitl. How will the Panthers answer back? Up the far boards, all sorts of Oilers in the way. Skinner has to go back to his crease, and he does. Ekholm has Bouchard with him at that near corner. Everyone's fighting for this loose puck, including Connor Brown. One of 2 Connors on this team. Of course, the other being the big headliner. Jones missed on the puck off the clear, and Bobrovsky will set up for Seth Jones, the former Columbus Blue Jacket. Up the near side, Tkachuk. Slowed up by McDavid, going all the way back for Jones, who walks around. Soft pass for Tkachuk. It was batted up by Kulak, moving towards the near half boards. It is Kasperi Kapanen who gets this one all the way down. Bobrovsky waits his time. And we're going to have another penalty. This is Aaron Ekblad going to the box.
Yep, he got his stick. He tripped Darnell Nurse with his skate. He's going to the box. It's 4-on-4 for 1:07. If we look back on this, again, 3 power plays but abbreviated, but nothing for Florida. That could prove big in this game for Edmonton.
Yeah, it certainly can. And if you're going to continue to leave the door open for these Oilers, you are eventually going to get burned here. And that obviously is not an intentional penalty, but Florida not making the most of these excellent opportunities early in this hockey game.
When it's 4-on-4, of course, you'd be thinking that the Oilers would be due for scoring in a moment. They're not going to start with McDavid and Draisaitl here on this 4-on-4 because there's no need to. They're going to save them for the power play. That's how I would think if I'm Chris Knobloch. This puck won by the Oilers off the faceoff, sent on down behind the net. It'll be collected by Verhaeghe. Watched by John Klingberg, who's been excellent defensively for the Oilers. And what the Panthers went down, that's Verhaeghe. No arm up in the air. On the near side, Sam Bennett will move this one through up the ice, through the far side. Slowing down is Kulikov. He'll whip this around for Bennett. Klingberg in the way. Bennett gets it back. Out in front, Schmidt gets tied up. And Arvidsson falls down off the stick lift. Bennett holds this one inside. Instead, he'll go for his change. Klingberg moves up the near side, going across. Wallman, a little too long on this pass. He goes down. Down in front, and almost deflected inside by Lundell. Anton Lundell, he'll look up front. Lundell going back for the point. Forward swing shot, blocked in front. That is McDavid, who is out there now. Of course, he is ready to get on the man advantage, but they have 10 more seconds of 4-on-4 time before this happens. Near side, Lundell walks around Bouchard. Lundell, excellent back check by Draisaitl. And now the Oilers will move it up. Bouchard will wait. Edmonton into the power play. Near side's McDavid, or rather far side. He'll wait and go back for Bouchard. He waits. He fires. Glove save. Bobrovsky. Clearing attempt is all the way out as Bouchard is not able to hold. Skinner places one up front. Bouchard actively skating this one up near side. Will drop it for McDavid. Of course, McDavid generating this offense here at the power play. Draisaitl. McDavid again from the near corner. McDavid for Corey Perry, who served the too many men on the ice penalty. Another clear by the Panthers in this abbreviated power play. 17 seconds left. And Skinner will wait up. Dropping this for Klingberg as the guys that were there previously return to the ice. Klingberg will move it up. Or Draisaitl. McDavid gets loose. McDavid shut down. Return feed Klingberg. Could not be picked up. And it will be scooped up by Edmonton as the power play expires. Up the far side. The Oilers reset. 6:50 to go here in this first period as Klingberg will move it back. Wallman intended for Brown. That was sticked away by Lundell. Nurse was all the way back. Nurse swinging this one up far side. Mikula on the hold. Back behind the net, it is Lundell. Tied up by Nurse. Lundell escapes up the far corner. 6-4 penalty minutes as his puck came behind the net. Sweeping clear as A.J. Greer is out there on the ice. Through the far corner, Podkolzin wants to clear this one out. He does. And it'll be grabbed by the Gus Bus. Rolling up the near side, Greer. The former Bruin, the former Flame. Up for the far side. Wallman let this one go. Bennett will move behind the net. Up front! And it was a tie-up right in front of the net. The Oilers will move this one back. And it'll be picked up by Bobrovsky as he saw Connor Brown up the near half boards. Bobrovsky slowing up for Schmidt. Kulikov again. Dmitry Kulikov up the near boards. Skinner slowed it down. Tkachuk played it to himself. Wallman's there. Wallman. Reverse hit by Tkachuk. One-timer. That's fanned on by Rodriguez. Got it back onto Tkachuk, who can't handle the puck. Up the near half boards. The Oilers get this one out. On the chase. Here's Evander Kane. Oh, he missed it. Up high as Bobrovsky made the stop and it exits.
My goodness, we go to break with that at 5:32. What action we had in front. The forecheck was fast and relentless. It was leading to all sorts of chances out in front of the net for both one-timers that were blocked, physicality all over the place. This has already been an excellent start to Game 3.
It has. And Evander Kane, you can see the look in his eyes there. You know he wants that one back. Wants to hit the rewind button on the remote, give that another go. Probably could have tied it right there, but good job by the Panthers to keep their, Alec, we talk about this a lot, keep their feet moving. It made a difference there. It did not allow Kane to have a full ice breakaway. It took away about a third of the ice. He had to stay in that low circle and take a shot early. I think that was just enough pressure, even just mentally, to get him off of that opportunity.
That's what we both saw from Evander Kane. Of course, impactful presence on the playoffs. But that time, Sergei Bobrovsky was up to the challenge. He stopped all 10 Oilers shots. It's been a while since the Oilers last had a shot on goal.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way, Alec. As you mentioned, look across, the shots are 10-8. Again, they started with an 8-3 advantage, so you'd be correct. Hits are 7-4, faceoffs 14-6. They lead in all categories. The most shocking part to this game so far to anyone that's joining in, with 5:32 left in the first, there's been 5 power plays. Nobody scored yet. And again, when we get at the first intermission, I do have a critical question to ask both of you. I know it's also probably a little bit regarding the box scores as well, but it's something that I noticed, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on once this period's done.
So far, we're seeing this Panthers team doing what they desperately need to do at home ice.
Yeah, no question about it. Obviously, they would like to have more. They had the opportunity to get more. Most obvious example being the Reinhardt miss, and that was Matthew Tkachuk, who we talked about in our open, who did his part of the duty there with a beautiful pass across the ice into a situation that should have resulted in a goal. But, hey, that is Stanley Cup playoffs hockey. That's hockey in general. Sometimes you just don't get the bounce, and we will only get answers by letting time elapse. We'll see if those missed opportunities come back to bite Florida.
5:25 to go. Here is the scene that one of the Oilers got high stick, and it appears we are getting that high sticking call. I think I may have saw that from a distance. One of the Oilers felt themselves. Sam Bennett, it seems, was the guilty party.
I'm going to look and see this right now. Yeah, clip in toward the face of Connor Brown. Bennett's going to be sitting for 2.
Yeah, this is a little different, gentlemen. We have certainly had power plays in the previous 2 games in the series, but nothing with this quick succession. It's Sam Bennett who catches Brown up top and just a little bit lazy with his stick right there. Takes one hand off. He's punished for it, and boy, Brown really took it. Gets that blade dragged right across the bridge of his nose. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one for Connor Brown and Sam Bennett. And Bennett especially, you need to go to your happy place. Well, I'm not obviously referencing Happy Gilmore, that is what TNT is trying to promote. CMD moving towards the SWAT. Aaron Ekblad does a good job holding firm. Towards the near half boards, Draisaitl grabbing a hold of it. Wanting to drop back for Bouchard. He does. Across the ice, it'll be McDavid to RNH. The neutral look from the far half boards. Wanting to center back up. McDavid restarts again. Bouchard waits towards the left circle. McDavid, broken stick. As it came loose out in front. This one deflected wide. Draisaitl grabs a hold of it. McDavid is back out there with a new stick. I think he is now. Bouchard to Draisaitl. McDavid at the spot that Draisaitl usually occupies. Down low for Perry, who gets this one towards McDavid near half boards. 1 minute left on this man advantage. Bouchard grabs a hold of it towards McDavid as he surveys. High swat, now left circle. Throws back for Bouchard. Bouchard waits, he fires. And that might be another broken stick. We're not seeing it. McDavid had it poked away. Barkov wants to clear. It's held inside as Perry, he undresses Forsling. Perry backpedals. And there's another stick that's loose. Bouchard deals to McDavid. McDavid looks right on in front. Bouncing puck. Perry can't tuck it home. McDavid rushes to it. Gets a hold of it with 25. Bouchard to Draisaitl. He waits. Bouchard unloads one. Excellent block there. Draisaitl keeps this in the zone. The Oilers have been all over this puck since the start of the power play. McDavid centering pass. Knocked away off the skate. Bouchard have a great keep as Draisaitl looks towards McDavid. A set up pass. Didn't go there. And the Panthers survive. Oh my. What a glorious chance for the Oilers, but the Panthers survive by the skin of their teeth.
And then you get an icing the other way at 3:10. Now Florida can get some reinforcements. They really needed that, Cooper.
Yeah, absolutely right, gentlemen. They survived, and just barely. I got to give it to the fans for sticking behind the team here. I think their hearts were in their throats, and that icing couldn't have come at a better time.
That's a chance to go up by 2 here. Most of the minutes in the Stanley Cup Final have either been a 1-goal game or a tie game. There have only been just a few minutes in which the Panthers had a 2-goal cushion. The Oilers have averaged 19 turnovers per game through 2 games, that they had to get cleaner zone exits. Tkachuk wants to go sharp angle. Save Skinner. Towards the near half boards, the Oilers want to get this one down. It'll be collected by Jones. And Edmonton will make their changes. Well, not now. Evander Kane's out there. Henrique centers one up. And a miss Wallman. Jake Wallman has to go all the way back to collect this puck. More lumber that's broken on the ice. This is behind at the far corner. And pushing and shoving. Tkachuk and Kane want to go at it. They've dropped the gloves. But the refs say, we want none of that here. Let them fight. Come on.
Yeah, the quick camera shot that we got was Bobrovsky with a broken stick, and Evander Kane, he had fire in his eyes against Tkachuk as Bobrovsky got airtime.
Yes, he absolutely did, and I think we're seeing the frustrations of these teams boil over. I think they know this could be a tie game, a 2-1 game, even a 2-2 game with all of the man advantages that have come and gone, all of the grade A opportunities that have gone wasted. This is a frustrating game, and I would imagine for these teams that have so much skill.
Victor Arvidsson gets 2.
Yeah, go ahead, Alec.
Yeah, 2 for goaltender interference. Is what you were implying to, John.
Yeah, he absolutely got the ball over a Bobrovsky. My goodness.
Yeah, and it's... Go ahead,
Go
Cooper.
for it, Alec. Let's hear what you got.
No, I want to hear what you have, Cooper.
Well, no, just simply, that puts a little more context onto exactly why Tkachuk is dropping the mitts there. Of course, he's going to protect his netminder. I think what I said still stands, but certainly anytime that your goalie gets literally checked down to the ice like that, you're going to be ready to throw hands.
Yeah, of course. And Matthew Tkachuk did the right thing as this slapper was shut down by Skinner right off the draw. Panthers keep it, but they convert here on the man advantage. Verhaeghe holds towards Rodriguez. He hasn't scored in a while in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He hasn't scored in the Stanley Cup Final, period. Rodriguez goes back for Bennett, who has just one goal at home this postseason. Verhaeghe, kick save. Rebound is long. Schmidt's shot blocked. Bennett will go back all the way for Schmidt, the former Vegas Golden Knight. Towards Verhaeghe. Waits, fires, and scores! Carter Verhaeghe!
Yes, sir. Walking to the right dot. You give Florida so many chances at the power play. Eventually, they're going to score. No chance for Stuart Skinner.
Boy, oh boy, and that is a huge, needless to say, goal right there. And even bigger, how significant is that penalty kill that came just a couple minutes ago? Now it's a 2-goal lead, and the Panthers are working their way through this first period beautifully.
Absolutely. Now, before you jump in, I just want to say that was an absolute dot for Verhaeghe. What a shot!
You think they fire it far side, but nope, he goes top corner at the left side. He put that one perfectly at the net. An excellent mark for Verhaeghe as Brad Marchand let the Oilers know. He's still here. He hasn't left one single bit. Oilers in a 2-goal cushion again. That's the second time this happened. Long shot stopped by Bobrovsky as Jake Wallman wanted to catch him by surprise. For the near corners, the Panthers in their own zone want to get this one out, and they will. Verhaeghe on the rush. For the near boards, it'll be picked up by Corey Perry. Moving back to the far side. Back across, and it'll be moved up by Draisaitl towards Perry. Offside here. Or what is it? I think it's going to be an interference penalty.
Yeah, we'll see what we get, Alec. I'm tracking that right now as far as anything else, so we'll update you. Now we're getting a camera shot, and alongside the initial pass gets blocked. The left side down, Bennett, excellent working against the wall. Here's a pinball, and it will eventually go back to Verhaeghe. He'll be able to walk his way into the left dot after some beautiful passing. He's just left all alone.
Yeah, the Verhaeghe shot, I could watch that replay over and over again. And, John, you're right. The Panthers' passing in particular tonight has looked exceedingly crisp, and what a finish by Verhaeghe. That shot was perfectly placed. Skinner was in position. It was just a better shot.
Just the second power play goal at home this postseason. They had just won before this finals. And this third line, which has been snake bit, they're out there on the ice, so they're off the ice. Fourth line on here for the Oilers. Trent Frederick will move it up as A.J. Greer clears this one down. Bouncing puck will be grabbed by Edmonton. It'll be moved up the near side the ice. For the far side, the Oilers move it back inside. It's Wallman, denied by Big Bob. Near half boards, it'll be collected down by Podkolzin. The Panthers are over as Nurse will move it back towards behind the net as Podkolzin digs this one up and out for Nurse with the far half boards. Last minute of this first period. 50 seconds now. Greer will get this one back for Schmidt. Henrique being all over the puck as the Oilers trying to play aggressive with it. Marchand fires up the far side. He'll be gloved out offside against Kane and the Oilers.
You got another 41 seconds left thereabouts. Panthers just taking a 2-goal lead. Power play there for Carter Verhaeghe, as Cooper mentioned. One too many chances, and that is what's doomed the Oilers so far in the first.
Absolutely right. And this is really, really exciting stuff if you're a Panthers fan, and you have to be a little bit nervous, not just because of the score if you're an Oilers fan, but I think the Oilers faithful are accustomed to seeing their team finish man advantages with goals, and that has not been the case tonight.
So far, no. The Panthers have done an excellent job killing off penalties, which has been their bread and butter. Up the far side, Ekholm fires this one down. Kane gets beat out by Mikkola. Jones wants to clear this one down through the far boards. Brown on the hold. Panthers have one last rush here to end off this first period. Losterinen. This puck deflected towards Stuart Skinner. Will be collected up at the far boards. And that's that. After one. And Skinner, as he grabs it, we're not done yet. Wandell and Ekholm throwing haymakers at one another. This is going to get ugly now. And guess who? Kane and Tkachuk. These two going at it. The officials have to gather everywhere to separate all of them. They are heated. They are angry. They know they're becoming bludgeoning rivals here, especially since they're meeting twice in a row in the Stanley Cup Final. Brown is pushing Mikkola. He wants to get into a fight. Mikkola's having none of that. Kane doesn't have his helmet. This is getting ugly, guys.
You take it, Cooper.
This is real deal hockey. For the hardcore hockey fans, you're seeing it. It's happening right in front of your nose right now. These are teams that don't like each other. They are sick of seeing each other. They have to listen to each other, look at each other, hear each other night in, night out. When they travel, they're not going on vacation. They're going back to see each other, and I love it. The blood is boiling, but the Panthers, with this lead, got to maintain some calm, deep breaths in the room as we get to the break, and focus, come back out, keep playing your game.
I was thinking the same thing, and regardless of the back end of that you mentioned, Cooper, because I look at that at Evander Kane, and I know Tkachuk was saying some other stuff to get under his ire, but you know what Tkachuk did? He let Kane kind of get a little face wash, a little smelly gloves and this and that, but Tkachuk skated away, and also the Panthers then skated away with a 2-goal lead. Let the Oilers fester in on that, maybe not concentrate on their game, and that will be a little bit of a plus. I'm looking at this now as far as the ESPN box. They have issued a penalty for Anton Lundell for roughing. I think we'll get some more housekeeping before we officially start the second.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see another 4-on-4. We've already had a couple of those, which have been truncated. But, Alec, you did a great job on the call in the first. But now we're hitting the official intermission. What do you think? The Oilers need to make any specific adjustments, or is it just settle down and play the way they know they can play?
That's an interesting question, because against this Panthers team, we know for a fact that they are the most battle-tested playoff team in the NHL. The issue here is if Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is at 100%. The Panthers, they're a more aggressive team than the Kings, the Golden Knights, and the Stars over the path that the Oilers have went through. The Oilers, they have struggled getting out of their own zone cleanly in this series. They've averaged 13.9 turnovers per game in the first 3 rounds. In the first 2 games, that number is up to 19. Whether it be the deep overtime games or whether they're playing right onto the Panthers' hands is TBD. But the Panthers, they are establishing themselves with their forecheck on this Oiler team. The Oilers have been for adversity before. They had to make the adjustments. We noted line changes all around for Edmonton. That they have shifted Nurse with Bouchard, Klingberg with Ekholm, Wallman with Kulak. So defensive pairing changes. I don't know if it's going to be a factor here for the Oilers, but nonetheless, that's a curious decision by Chris Knobloch to change his defense pairings all around, when Wallman and Klingberg have mostly worked up to this point.
Yeah, they have. Like, again, I think that's a great point by you because I don't think you should change that much, all things considered. I think if you asked everyone in the world that's a hockey fan across the Stanley Cup Finals, where would this series be after 2 games? And I would bet you 9 out of 10 of them would say split.
Yeah, Alec, again, you had it during our opening segment. You got it again, making great observations. And listen, if I had answers right now, I would share them. Even though I'm a Flames guy, the Oilers may be scratching their heads in that locker room right now. Not that they don't have what it takes. They certainly do. They're here for a reason in the Stanley Cup Final. But they've been solved. They were right on the cusp. I think it's got to be frustrating, as we talked about earlier, to not finish those chances. They had a lot of opportunities, man advantages, even strength. They felt like, it seemed, that they were doing what needed to be done, but the Panthers were just that little bit better. And that, I think, when you're playing at this high of a level in the NHL, really any sport, you feel like you have what it takes to get it done, but the Panthers are just outplaying the Oilers right now. I think it might be as simple as that.
Let me go ahead and get into the reset, and then I want to share a question amongst you gentlemen. Let me know what you think. I want to give you some of my thoughts the way this series has gone. We can have a discussion about it. But Carter Verhaeghe scores the latest on the power play, his 7th of the playoffs from Evan Rodriguez and Nate Schmidt. That was at 17:45 after the goaltender interference against Bobrovsky. He got ran over. 56 seconds in, King Rat, Brad Marchand, Vermanton Lundell, Eetu Luostarinen, all 3 on the third line forwards hook up. Bobrovsky makes 8 saves in the initial, 5 minutes or so for the Oilers on their power play opportunities. He's 12 of 12. Stuart Skinner, 8 of 10. And as far as the team stats, shots 12-10, hits 11-6, face-off 17-10. All Oilers, and yet they are down to nothing. Again, I remember last time we covered Game 2, Alec, I said something similar to you after the first period, and yet the Cats were only down 1, and now they are up 2.
That's something of a similar note after that Sam Bennett goal in Game 1, the second one, that is. A similar note of what it's going to take for the Oilers to come back and win this. They have done this before against the Panthers. That is the final boss of getting comebacks, because the Panthers, of course, they are the best closers in the league. They're so good under Paul Maurice when holding on to a lead, because once they get a lead, they'll be comfortable with it. Any lead.
Cooper, anything final for you before I get into this narrative?
No, John, let's make the most of this time here. I think we're just excited to see what happens in the second stanza, but I know you got something good for us. So why don't you fire that arrow? Hit us.
So this is a good segue. I think this is going to go through the first 3 games in this series. So far, a period that we're in here right now, it's a 2-0 lead for the Cats. But I wanted to jump in on an interesting trend that I've been following across. So in the first period of Game 1, again, the Oilers won 4-3 in overtime. And let's count them up. 5 total penalties in the first. That sounds like a lot. Only 1 in the second, 1 in OT. That had to be called with Tomas Nosek delay game, puck over glass. It's going to have to get called no matter what. But keep in mind, 5 in the first. How many were in the second? 11 penalties across the board. And so far now, when we look at this Game 3 in the first period, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, a couple of them are going to be called with the too many men and the goaltender interference. So you could say 6 if you want to, but 5, 11, 8, all in the first. And then when you go across the second and third period, unless it has to be called, maybe 1. And the double OT from the last game, we didn't get any. My point being is this: you get all of those extra chances in the first period, and then the Panthers start to dominate the second, as they've done. Those power play opportunities dwindle, and I have to think the Oilers let a huge chance slip away, because when you give the Cats an opportunity to play in even strength, especially when it gets to late in the winning time, that's when I think they have the vice grip. But what say you, boys?
Same thing. That the Oilers, they were good on the power play, some chances, but they let those opportunities slip. They couldn't capitalize on that power play despite having grade A looks. They had open looks, but either they missed out because of missed shots, the defense breaking up passes, or Sergei Bobrovsky standing on his head.
Yeah, Great observations, Alec and John. I love the way you set that up. I think that what we're likely to see is both teams settle down, and what that means is not that the level of play will be lowered. I think that we'll see fewer penalties as this game continues. I think part of what is happening, obviously, some of this is just players playing hard, right? Sticks are going to get up into the shoulder and the neck and the chin area. That's where we see Sam Bennett taking the high sticking. We had Marchand be on the other end of one. And Kane, of course, I think is trying to establish some physicality there right around the crease and just goes a little too far. Those are players trying to settle into their system. They have a game plan that they're trying to execute. They know their roles. You get to the Stanley Cup Final by knowing what to do when you have time on the ice. They just hit the gas a little too hard, and that goes both ways. But the Panthers, Alec, as you pointed out so beautifully and really summarized it, Panthers were able to focus just a little bit more. John, in games that you and I have covered, sometimes it does come down to the mental chess. And I think that on both the offensive side and defensive side, the Panthers, for whatever reason, maybe it is the home cooking, maybe it's that they got the slight extra rest, maybe it's, I don't know, it's the coin flip of whatever it could be. But they had that one additional notch of focus and ability to stick to their plan as laid out by their head man, Maurice. And it's to be determined. I could go on and on about this, but the Panthers, as we said, after the scrum, the players coming together at the end of the first, Panthers have more to risk here, not just because of the score, but because of what the Oilers can do with McDavid, Draisaitl, etc. Got to settle in, remember their game plan, and the Oilers are playing catch-up.
And boys, let me ask you this. I know it's probably the easiest button to push, and then I got one more thing after. But we've seen a second period so far within the first two games that have been completely dominated by the Florida Panthers, and now they're already up by 2. I don't care if the Edmonton Oilers don't win this game tonight. If they get this series split, I think that would be enough as far as Sunrise. But they need to figure out this second period quickly, and I would imagine they need to do it in this next set of 20 minutes. You can't wait anymore.
You have to, because the second period's been won thoroughly by the Cats with the 4-1 goal advantage they have through 2 games. That Brad Marchand breakaway shorthanded being the signature one. The Oilers, they had to figure that out.
Yeah, and I'll just put a guess on it. I'm going to just throw my opinion into it, saying that, you know, we all expected this game to be a 1-goal victory. We all happen to be leaning toward the team in red. And whatever the actual tally is, we thought it'd be a 1-goal margin. I think that remains important even prior to the final horn sounding. I think that the Panthers have to maintain a multi-goal lead. If you allow the Oilers to get back within that one, they have just shown us time and again, it doesn't matter who it is. It's Corey Perry. Go down the list. If you are within one, that game is basically tied. So that is what I'm thinking. That's the mentality for Maurice and the Panthers. Must be multiple goal advantage, or else we are basically locked and even.
I agree with you. The one last thing I'll throw out there, I know it's a while since this is going to kick up again, but congratulations to the Charlotte Checkers and the Abbotsford Canucks. If the Edmonton Oilers don't win this series for Canada, maybe Abbotsford will in the Calder Cup Finals. Again, that's going to be 2-3-2. Charlotte starts with home ice. Again, admittedly, I will cover that series at some point in progress. The one thing I have to mention, though, as far as Game 3 for the Calder Cup Finals, that coincides with Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals, so that's going to take precedent and paramount. But it should be on the NHL Network. I just figured I'd throw that out there for the Canucks. They had a rough season, but they get to welcome themselves to the finals.
Oh, at least in some capacity for Abbotsford, the Vancouver Canucks AHL affiliate. The Charlotte Checkers used to be the Carolina Hurricanes AHL affiliate. Now it's the Florida Panthers AHL affiliate. But no matter what, guess I'll be rooting for the North Carolina teams. Charlotte, good luck, and I hope you guys win the Calder Cup.
Yeah, John, you've been on some good Calder Cup calls recently. Of course, we remember the last couple of years of success for the Coachella Valley Thunderbirds, but they came a little bit short. John, was it Boston's AHL affiliate that won the Calder Cup? Was it 2 years in a row or just last year?
Yeah, so it was the Coachella Valley Firebirds taking on the Hershey Bears, the Washington Capitals affiliate.
Excuse me, right, DC. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they took them out in Game 7 of overtime. I actually had one of those a couple of years ago, but Hershey this time got knocked out in the very first round, so there will not be a repeat champion.
I love it, man. You always ready to jump on the mic. That's the life of John Otten. I know that much.
We've been busy with all this stuff between Alec and I, and Cooper, we're just glad to have you along. Here's my thought process. Again, the second period has been mostly dominated by the Florida Panthers, as we talked about. Cooper, if you're going to grit your teeth into this series, you might as well do it in the second period. I would think a lot less could go wrong for Florida.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I think that grit the teeth phrase is a good one. I do expect a very strong push. Let's see if the magic is there with me tonight. Let's see if the crystal ball is cloudy or if it's clear. I'm expecting to get a really strong push from the Oilers in the first 5 to 6 minutes. I think they know that it's at a premium, because if they do not come out fully skating at 100%, executing what they need to, it's going to be major problems, and you could see the Panthers really tighten things down with another goal or two. I
agree with you, and also it gives me another opportunity, Cooper, to throw another shout-out to a former Flame in A.J. Greer. Glad that he's back in the lineup. Does a really good job on that fourth line. Yeah, not a super lengthy time with Calgary, but you know what? I enjoyed him while he was there, and I love that these guys are still making an impact, and they're really making a difference for their team. It's awesome to see. Well, I know sometimes you like to do this too. We might as well do this during the intermission because we kind of kept it on point to this game in particular, but it's been important. Evan Bouchard, 10-14 of time on ice, which leads everyone, usually on the defensive side. So we got Connor McDavid, 9 minutes and 11 seconds on the top forward side. Again, the fact that leads all forwards. And Alec, that might also lead me to believe, as we've seen from the Cats tying up this series at a game apiece and having some leads in the periods that they're starting to double shift. Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid. That hasn't necessarily worked out as much right now, but I feel like that's maybe what we're going to see again to start the second period.
Even superstars, I mentioned about if the Oilers have the legs to keep up, and if the Panthers, they can keep up with them. It seems like everything that's happening is that the inverse is going on. We wonder how long they are going to keep up here in Game 3, because we think that they will all be exhausted after playing 2 lengthy games of overtime. Well, we might have seen the same thing about 2014 between the Kings and Rangers, 2013 between the Blackhawks and Bruins. The last 2 times in which we saw the first 2 games of the finals go back-to-back overtime games. And frankly, in both cases, one of those games went at least 2 overtimes. In the case of 2013, Game 1 went to 3 overtimes.
You make a good observation there, Alec, as you always do, because we talk about it in a little bit for the backhand line. For the Florida Panthers, their fourth line doesn't play as much as the Edmonton Oilers do. They've been more branched out as far as all of their minutes. Today, that's not the case. Again, with the last line changes being at home, we've seen more time from A.J. Greer and Jonah Gadjevich and Tomas Nosek more than we've seen from Trent Frederick, who's only got 1:48. But essentially, as you said, you got the 3 days off in between the OTs. Gentlemen, we've played 3 games, and we're still in Game 3 right now because of the double OT and the LT. Yeah, you guys make excellent observations here, and this is purely speculation, but I'm thinking to myself, and even if I try to put myself in the shoes of an Oilers fan, which, listen, those aren't shoes I want to be in very often, but let's do it for this exercise. Here's what I'm thinking. If I'm looking at the ice time, if I'm looking at what could potentially happen. Now, again, we're in Game 3 here. If this were Game 5, if we were later in the series, there would be more intensity with this. But what I'm referring to is, do the Oilers fall back into what would be considered their quote-unquote old ways, meaning leaning more and more and more heavily? We know they're top-heavy. We know they are star-heavy with the players that don't need to be named again. We understand who we're talking about when we say that. But I would just simply, as an Oilers fan, have a slight concern, just be a little apprehensive about getting away from even distribution of ice time, understandably, right? We're not going to have your fourth liners getting double-digit minutes on ice, but I just don't want to see them fall back into the old trap of, okay, we're going to double, triple shift McDavid and Draisaitl and just pin our hopes on those 2 guys. I agree with you, and that's kind of why I threw that out there too, and I appreciate that, Cooper, because that's what you have to have. This series has been a war of attrition we've seen between both of these squads. They're giving us the best of the very best, and it's been a treat to watch so far, but you're absolutely right, because if this series goes along and Florida's able to get the continued production up and down the lineup, that's just going to put more and more pressure on the guys that you mentioned that we don't need to, and that's what you want to stay away from. Let everybody be able to do their job and make sure, at least in this second period alone, if you're Edmonton, focus on putting the puck in the net, put all the other distractions aside. They need a good set of 20 here.
They have to. And just before we get started in the second period, congratulations to TJ Oshie on an excellent career. He just announced his retirement from the NHL. He did not play the season because of a lingering issue with his back, and he missed the entire season. But player health is, of course, of the utmost importance, and I'm glad Oshie is prioritizing health ahead of anything. But congratulations on a spectacular career. Never forget his shootout at Sochi.
Yeah,
Wow.
Hey, Sochi, he's the man.
There's a guy who I deeply respect. He has some ties to the Pacific Northwest, and so, of course, that's where I hail from. And Alec, I'm actually really glad you said that. There's a guy that's got nothing left to prove, really done it all on the world stage, on the NHL stage, and respected pretty much all around. So tip of the cap to TJ Oshie. That's a great mention by you.
And Cooper, as you get set to take it away here, the only penalty that they called was an Anton Lundell rough against Evan Bouchard. So indeed, the Oil will go to the power play to start this set of 20.
Yes, indeed. Now, guys, let me ask you this. I'm absolutely willing to jump in. I know there's 3 periods and 3 broadcasters. I am a little bit behind on the broadcast here. If you two want to split it, I will be more than happy with that. I don't want you to feel like you're way ahead of me. How do we feel in that regard?
It's no problem to us, man. You can take it if you want.
Okay, well, let's jump back in here as we get going in the second period of the Game 3 in the Stanley Cup Final. Edmonton will be on the power play, a perfect scenario for them to begin this stanza. The Florida fans getting back in their seats here. It's 2-0 Panthers. They had a very successful first period with goals from Verhaeghe and that first opening goal from Brad Marchand, the former Bruin. 15 seconds elapsed here in this power play. It's going to be held down low by the Oilers, back to the top in that blue point, the blue line point, excuse me. Now they're going to walk this one in. Toss back right here to Wallman. Wallman holds, not too much pressure on. He's going to go for the Bouchard slapper. This one hits some bodies in front, and the Panthers are able to knock this one out. It's actually going to streak all the way down to Skinner, who will control outside the blue paint and drop it off for 96 in white. That is Jake Wallman. Wallman going to quarterback this thing. Little back pass right here is the number 97. Yes, indeed. It's McDavid streaking through the neutral zone, maintaining control between 2 Panthers. Now drops it back to the point and down to the near half boards. Panthers looking to steal this puck away. They will do so. Snap it down the ice. Half of this man advantage has elapsed for the Panthers. And with 55 to go on the power play, they will reset and try to do this thing again out on the ice for the Oilers. Draisaitl, RNH, Perry, Bouchard, and Wallman sticking out there, getting the most out of this top line. And there's a drop pass that is deflected off of the blade of a Panther stick and to the far dasher, and a cross-ice pass. Fake shot down to the near corner. Back across. It's held. Ekholm has it. That left-hand shot defenseman looks to send it back down low. Will do so. 25 seconds to go in the power play. There's a slap pass. That's to Bouchard. Bouchard going to skate it into the center between the circles from distance. And that puck is in the back of the net. It's the first goal of the night on a Corey Perry deflection. 2-1.
Take it out.
Corey Perry, of course, he loves to set up at the net front. The Moss Pit celebrating that. And who knew that it would be Evan Bouchard firing that one on the initial chance. Corey Perry was positioned right at the side of the net. His 9th goal this postseason. As Bouchard, he holds, and once he finds the lane, he made no mistake firing this one. He wanted a rebound to get to Perry, and that's exactly what happened after the initial save from Bobrovsky.
Yeah, we talk about the limited amount of power play chances that might come after. That was extending from the first period on from Lundell. Perry right in front of the net. And now the Oilers only down 1.
Yes, indeed, boys. So thanks for bearing with me with the slight delay on my side. I know it's just several seconds, but we're getting through this thing, and that is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Edmonton Oilers. Cut that lead in half. Now 2-1 Panthers with the single goal advantage. 2 minutes gone here in the second period. Cooper Hopkins, Alec Nava, and the one and only John Ott. We are on the call for you tonight, coming to you from Sunrise, Florida. There's a bouncing puck that's going to wrap around Skinner's net. Florida trying to maintain some ozone time here and get that 2-goal lead back. We talked about that multi-goal lead being very important for this home team during our first intermission break. 17:40 on the clock. Puck bounces all the way back, and there is a collision in the crease. No hand raised, though. Looked relatively similar to the Bobrovsky collision, but no goaltender interference as a bouncing puck goes over the blocker of Bobrovsky. Not sure how that even made it all the way down to him, but it does. Puck picked up by Sam Bennett, going to try to float this thing forward. Now the puck is deflected up and out of play. Looks to be in the benches, and we'll have a stoppage at 17:21.
It looked like Matthew Tkachuk. He was right on the doorstep, and Skinner said, "Hey, where's the penalty?"
Yeah, that seemed to be the case when Tkachuk was right on the doorstep of the crease. Skinner was none too happy with that. He wanted to get the penalty, and it was a pushing and shoving afterwards between Janmark and Gadjevich after the matter of fact. But I don't know how, even as a neutral watching this, I don't know how you missed that.
Yeah, and it looks to be a little bit of half and half there. Maybe not 50-50, but 60-40. I think Tkachuk initiated some of the physicality, but if you look a little closer, Skinner got that big paddle all tied up in Chucky's skates. So maybe a little bit of back and forth between those two boys, and the refs may let it go. 14 shots for the Edmonton Oilers, 11 for the Panthers. Again, the Panthers currently leading by a scoreline of 2-1. There's a faceoff just outside the Panthers zone. They will win it, skate this thing backward, and float the puck to center ice. Lands on that Panthers Shield logo, that redesign from several years ago, which has led to a great deal of success. I'm sure those Panthers marketers are very pleased with what's been going on with their team lately. Now we have a couple of bodies down at the far corner. Play will continue, and it will continue with a goal. It's Sam Reinhart off of a collision, scoring 5-hole on Stuart Skinner.
Alec, what was John Klingberg doing? He turned himself into his old Dallas Star self. You can't do that there.
No, you can't. And Sam Reinhart took full advantage with the puck coming all the way through. If Klingberg, he held onto it for way too long. No passing here from Klingberg. You gotta get rid of that puck in a hurry with Alexander Barkov pressuring you. You cannot hold onto that puck. And because if you hold onto that for too long, Florida will make you pay.
Yeah, boys, I'm taking a look at the replay here, and I appreciate you being patient. I'm going to say that every time now. I'm getting some goal action, and that did look like a shot that was labeled for the 5-hole. I do think Skinner may have gotten the paddle on it and just happened to angle it up into his own net. May have taken a deflection. Either way, Verhaeghe's got a second point now with a primary assist. 3-1 Panthers, 16:45 in the second. Here comes Draisaitl up the near board. It's going to try to drop this thing. Big slap shot from Ekholm that's going to rattle all the way around to the far side. And now stretch pass down towards Skinner, angled, and he has to knock that thing up into the corner, and that's Marchand who was in pursuit. So the Panthers trying to stretch pass, trying to headman that thing to make it 4-1, but nice job by Skinner to break up the passing play. Now another full length of the ice pass from the Oilers just onside as Draisaitl controlling beautifully after some contact. He gets pushed off the puck in the near corner, and there's a delayed offside here, so the Oilers are going to have to skate it off, and they will take a change with 4 minutes gone in the second period. 3-1 Florida with 12 shots, so they're scoring on 25% of their attempts on goal, and Jake Walman's got it behind Skinner's net. Perry on the ice for the Edmonton Oilers. He's the only goal scorer for the visitors tonight. And there's Connor McDavid putting the brakes on. He fools Barkov. He goes down. Looks like, that was RNH. Now the puck's out in front, far circle. That was Bobrovsky, who has head on the swivel. Couldn't find the puck initially, but no concern. The Panthers defense able to come away with it. Florida with possession here. And yes, we will have the goal to Sam Reinhart with the only assist to Verhaeghe, as that is now made official, courtesy of TNT. So tip to the cap of their statisticians. And Florida's just going to rattle this puck back around into the Oilers zone so they can get some fresh bodies on the ice. And the Oilers will reset. So some deep breaths here all around. The Oilers are trying to bounce back. They were able to cut that lead in half early in the second period, making it 2-1. And Florida reopens it at 3-1. Now streaking in is Edmonton. Great stick work. And then that puck will bounce out into the far corner. Now back to the point at the far corner. Held by the Panthers here after deflection. And the puck gets all the way into neutral ice and will be held again by Edmonton. So the Florida Panthers struck fast. It looks to me, and this is something we can talk about, boys, that looks to me that Edmonton's had more of the possession. We can certainly take a look at those stats as we have 14:40 to go here in the second. Schmidt will deflect this thing off of the glass in his near side, and the Panthers will try to maintain a little bit of zone time on the other end. Panthers wearing their home reds, going left to right on your radio dial. Now a loose puck in front is backhanded. It didn't make it to Skinner. That off of some Oilers bodies. So nice shot blocking by the Oilers, collapsing down in front of their netminder. And, of course, the Oilers, just to finish my previous thought, wearing their road whites going right to left in this second period. Stopping up is Barkov. He's checked by 2 Oilers there, but able to get the pass down to, looks like Verhaeghe. There's a shot into the crease. I think that may have deflected off the right pad of Stuart Skinner. Now another shot's going to slide all the way down to the near corner. Verhaeghe with a snapper, and there's a big rebound, and tied up in front, not able to get a shot, is Sam Reinhart. He'll pass it back to the top of the umbrella, and this looks like a power play for the Panthers right now as they're having their best extended zone time, exactly what they were looking for. Of course, as I say that, immediately my foot's in my mouth as the Oilers come the other way. 13:40 on the second period clock, and a shot that comes in lazily is sticked aside by Big Bobrovsky. Here come the Panthers 2-on-2 the other way. This loose puck will be picked up by the Oilers in this 1-1 series. Their Stanley Cup Final is for all the marbles. And here come the Oilers. They have the puck in the offensive zone, but Colson had it momentarily. Now it's on the near half boards. Panthers will come away with this. Now we're getting some back and forth hockey with just over 13 minutes to go in the second. Shots on goal getting closer here. 15 Edmonton, 14 Florida. They do lead 3-1. That's what matters tonight and every night when you're playing for the best trophy in sports. Panthers now have possession. Brad Marchand going to try to dump this thing in and chase himself, doing a nice job on the forecheck, but Skinner will urge this puck along, and here comes the German. Leon Draisaitl stays just onside. Huge collision. RNH gets popped, and it looks like we're going to have, do we have a hand in the air? No, we're going to have a play continue. The Oilers have possession. Looking for the cross-ice pass. Now a breakaway opportunity. It's 1-on-0 against Skinner. There's the shot, and it's Sam Bennett, the former Calgary Flame. He makes it 4-1. No mistake. Puck in the net.
And Alec, you take it. Sam Bennett, what a shift.
Have yourself a shift there, Sam Bennett. No mistake, elevating that all the way top shelf. With the Panthers making the most of home ice advantage. He might just increase his asking price because he is a free agent. Big hit initially on Vasily Podkolzin, and then another one on John Klingberg. That's the shift of the night. Heavy hitter in Sam Bennett. Just like that, it's 4-1.
Yeah, Cooper, before you take it, it's a trifecta for Bennett between Podkolzin and Klingberg, and then a 2-on-0. Podson, he's got 14. He's got 2 finally at home and says, I can score at home too.
I don't know how else to say this, gentlemen, but as I look at the replay, you can see it. Stuart Skinner had no chance, not only because that's a breakaway, he just did not have position. He had body language that said, I'm getting beaten right here, and I don't blame him. Sam Bennett had the shift of a lifetime, and you said it, Alec. He is making himself hundreds of thousands of dollars by the shift. Every single NHL team desperate for a player like Sam Bennett. Incredible. That's his 14th goal of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Assist to Luosterainen, and it is 4-1 Florida. Now, let's not assume they're going to run away with this thing with 12 minutes to go. The Oilers have what it takes, most certainly, to get back in this game, but the Panthers seem to be the better team tonight. Will that continue? Puck in the trapezoid with Stuart Skinner, going to drop this thing off. Now, Marchand, who was on the forecheck, going to call over to the bench. He's going to take a breather. McDavid had it. He gets checked, and the Panthers will come away with the puck. They are on fire right now. Panthers have it. It's going to be sent in to the far corner, bounces around, and looking to chase this one down, and unsuccessful is Florida. Now taking away for that headman pass and turning back at center ice, and it will be Wallman picking up in his own end. He'll control. Great forecheck right here by the Panthers. That's Gadjevich, who is doing excellent work just to put a pressure on. And that's what we talked about. The Panthers able to roll those lines, right, gentlemen, where we're getting a little bit more even playing time, and you're seeing contributions up and down with those forward lineups. 11:15 to go here in the second. Cooper Hopkins on your play-by-play for this middle frame of the third game of the Stanley Cup Final. You got John Ott and Alec Knobel along with you. It's a pleasure to have you on board. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Shots are finally even at 15-15, and it looks like we had a puck that deflected up into the benches. So I will finally get a chance to fill my lungs with some air. And boy, that arena has got to be filled with a ton of excitement. The Florida Panthers leading 4-1.
Yeah, they've already breathed in a lot of it, exuding CO2 from the excitement because the Flying Sams, Reinhardt and Bennett from Verhaeghe and Lucerinen. I know Cooper was nice during his play-by-play, but I'm going to say it right now. Whatever's happening in the second period, that aside, when they play that middle 20, the Oilers don't even look like they belong on the ice. And Corey Perry scored this period.
That sounds like a humiliation ritual in the second period. With the Sam Bennett shift. Yes, Corey Perry did score. But the goal advantage in the second period, between all 3 games of the Stanley Cup Final, 6-2 Panthers. That's how much that second period's been decided by Florida.
I think we've said this before. It may have been in our last call together, gentlemen, where it's been very clear on the journeys here for both of these teams that these are the 2 best teams in the National Hockey League. And on any given night, you can flip a coin. Either one of these teams are going to take it. And that's what we saw. Game 1, overtime. Game 2, double overtime. It was on a knife's edge. It could have fallen either way. You see the Oilers take Game 1. You see the Panthers take Game 2. This is a different scenario tonight. We're seeing the Panthers establishing, dare I say, reestablishing themselves as the, and I underline the, best team in the NHL. Again, not that the Oilers don't have what it takes to respond. They will. This is a long series. We're still early in it. But the Panthers look very special tonight.
And I agree with you, Cooper. Before you jump in, I just want to say this again. Panthers on the side of home ice in this playoffs were just 4-3. I feel like they've taken the 3 days off, and they've set and reestablished their home ice at Amaret Bank Arena. They've looked very good.
And they needed this because of the previous home ice results that have been very on and off for the Panthers. This may be their best home game that they've played so far in the playoffs.
I agree with you 100%. And we're going to see Draisaitl in on a face-off here and coming in a little early, Sasha Barkov. So he will step away and we'll do this face-off again, make it official. And Draisaitl this time, he gets waved away. So a little eager are both of these teams to continue this. I would imagine the Panthers even more so. But you know the Edmonton Oilers want a chance to try to draw closer. They're down by 3 tallies, 4-1 Panthers. And again, shots even, 11:03 on the clock here in the second. Now this will be a clean win in the D-zone with a check right there. That looked like Forsling getting dropped by a cross-check. I'm not seeing any hands go up. So, guys, this is something we can chat about. The whistles have been swallowed a little bit here in the second period. That may have been clean. I need a second look at it. But right now, play continues. Panthers looking to get this into the O-zone, and there is an offside call with a hand in the air. But the Oilers will take over possession as Reinhardt got pushed to the ice momentarily. He pops right back up. 10:30 on the clock. Here comes McDavid. He gets pushed off the puck by Ekblad. Nice physicality. Panthers doing it all. 3-on-2 the other way. Pass up to the far half boards. A bouncing puck off of the stick blade of Skinner. Not the most confident play on that moment, but no harm, no foul in that instance as Marchand picks up the puck in the trapezoid behind Skinner. Trying to maintain possession, can't do so. The puck is taken away by the Oilers. Now coming the other way. Oilers going on a change. Panthers have fresh legs on the ice as well. This is going to be a slap shot right down the middle. That one was deflected, an 85-mile-per-hour shot that just slid toward Bobrovsky. You don't believe he had to even make a save on that as it slid toward the near post. There is a nice play right there by one of the Panthers. I didn't get a number. Apologies, but there was a stick down. That was a little long snap for a field goal there, getting that puck out of the Panther zone and into neutral ice. And there's a floating attempt that will float right into the glove of Bobrovsky. It will hold, and there's the whistle.
You take it out.
And more pushing and shoving from Evander Kane, but nothing more out of that. But it seems the Panthers, they are establishing their zone offensively and defensively.
I don't think I've ever said this in the microcosm of my brain. Connor McDavid got absolutely rocked by Aaron Ekblad as we went to break. I've never seen McDavid take a hit like that.
And even for the 2 first overall picks, McDavid may be the best player in the league. Aaron Ekblad just said, let me show you how a real first overall pick plays.
Yeah, and I'm going to correct myself, boys. For whatever reason, maybe I'm thinking tennis. I'm thinking Sasha Zverev, but I said Sasha Barkov, of course, meaning Alexander Barkov. But we're talking about that hit by big old number 5 in red, and that, of course, is Mr. Ekblad. And yeah, John, you said it, Alec, you followed it up. That is a team that is confident. You have to dial up that hit. You know it needs to be clean. That's not a clean hit. Or if McDavid gets rid of the puck and you hit him late, that is 2 for interference, if not more. That's a confident player knowing how to see the ice, pick your spot, pick your moment, and it just happens to be against the best player in the world. You knock him off the puck, and I'm a little surprised, credit to McDavid, that he didn't go down there. That shows his physical strength as well.
I'm not going to jump too far ahead of myself, but I got to be a keen reminder that it's a 4-1 lead for the Panthers as we're midway through this second period, and it's just going to be a one-game swing. But I love the effort that we're seeing, and the game can be on a knife's edge. And Cooper, you said this at the beginning, for the Panthers to try to win something in regulation and be confident, and Alec mentioned this earlier, this is indeed the best that they've looked. And oh boy, Connor McDavid's going to the room.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I have no words.
Yeah, I'm seeing this as well. We're getting a replay here in full speed, and that's Ekblad. Now, McDavid did go down. I apologize. I was following the play-by-play here, and it looks like their skates collided. This was a clean hit. Let's be very clear. Ekblad used his body and his hip, and I'm not sure if this is a hip issue, maybe an ankle issue for Connor McDavid, but this is a major development, boys. I don't see a noticeable limp here. Could be an abdominal or a hip issue for McDavid. So I don't mean to take all of that time to flap my gums here, but we have play continuing. 9:39 to go here in the second period. The Panthers looking like the better team tonight, although the Oilers get a great chance there as the puck slides through the blue paint right in front of Bobrovsky from left to right. He was able to turn that shot aside. It wasn't the snappiest of shots, but a close-up attempt by the Oilers to make this 4-2. Now a puck bounces right the other way through the blue paint. Now Bobrovsky has the puck trapped between his bicep and ribs. Huge stop right there, excuse me. And I'm just trying to follow the action as players come together again. Alec, jump in there. You've been calling our boxing matches tonight, and that's basically what we have.
And we saw one of the Panthers go down in one of those boxing matches. As you see McDavid back on the bench. So all those discussions about where he is going through in the ailments, that might be overblown for the moment. But Jonah Gadjevich has some words. AJ Greer, too. That's the grinder line is out there trying to do the heavy hits. And to those, Greer and Gadjevich, you would normally see them as grinders / enforcers, which are out there for the tough plays, the tougher minutes, that who can impose their will and make life hell for anyone. Nurse and Gadjevich were up with one another, and Gadjevich is like,
John, jump in there. We got a moment. But yes, McDavid back out on the ice. Could have been a skate issue as well. So you're right, Alec. We didn't mean to overblow that situation. Good to see 97 back out.
No, absolutely. I just wanted to play caution to the wind there as we'll get some chances. But man, oh man, that was a lot of physicality. And you mentioned these two teams don't like each other. In Florida, they're standing up in the moment.
No, you know what I love to see? Yeah, they're getting some close-ups of McDavid's skate. Could have been a blade issue or could have just been the entire boot of the skate. We will likely find out after the game. I'm sure that every media member will be asking about Connor McDavid's physical status as Reinhart has the puck down the offensive zone on the near half boards. He gets it right back from Reinhart. Nice one-handed pass there. McDavid on defense. Alec, you talk often. There's a wraparound attempt, loose puck in front. Shot just past the right pad of Skinner on the rebound. Alec, you always talk about McDavid's ability to play both ways, and he's back out there with the top line, and now the Oilers come streaking the other way. Some stick handling there results in a turnover as the Panthers are able to spin this puck down toward the other end of the ice on the right side. It'll be picked up by Wallman. 8:35 to go here in the second. There's a puck loose at the Panthers' blue line, bounces off some skates, and is a fortunate one for McDavid, who passes down low to Draisaitl. Draisaitl's going to hold possession in the corner and rims it all the way around, held in nicely there by the Oilers, and a shot from distance, glove down without issue, and we have players coming together again. No surprise, guys. 91 in white. Evander Kane wants a piece of everyone.
Yeah, he's been the main irritant along the side for the Florida Panthers here. Evander Kane trying to jumpstart whatever he can. It's Edmonton that needs to jumpstart some goals in particular, especially in the second period. They're down 4-1 with 8:20 left to go in the second.
Evander Kane, of course, being the counter to Brad Marchand in terms of pests that you would see on the ice. We're not sure what the issue is with McDavid. Might be the skate, as what TNT showed previously.
Yep, and I love that you guys earlier, I know this was a couple of shifts ago coming back from break, but the the look on Gadjevic's face was a great one. Actually reminds me of some of the sand, some of the grit that Ryan Lomberg brought to the Panthers team that won the Stanley Cup not long ago and is now, of course, back with his original team in Calgary. So you know me, of course, as we get this shot of Sam Bennett preparing for this face-off, can't help but mention the boys in Alberta who aren't here tonight. And there's a shot from the far point that's turned aside by the right pad of Bobrovsky. He has looked very solid. We haven't had to talk too much about the goaltenders tonight. Skinner's been beaten 4 times, just once by Corey Perry for Bobrovsky. The puck in the far corner now. It's held by the Oilers and then sent back out to the point. They've done a relatively good job this evening of holding those points as Ekholm sends it low, bounces to Bobrovsky's right. Kachuk on the ice here for the Panthers. He tries to avoid a check, but ends up falling down. Not sure if he got clipped or just slipped. It's one or the other. We'll find out soon enough, but he's back up and skating fast. And now the Oilers trying to set up some passing. They have it down low. It's in Gretzky's office all the way to the far point. Now back in toward the wall, bouncing low. And a little physicality by the Panthers there results in a nice turnover. That's Seth Jones, who does a great job. He's doing his best Sam Bennett impression. He throws the check, then takes the puck away, and he'll float it down. Panthers looking for a partial change. Kachuk will go off here. So the puck is held by Kane. Kane would love to get on the score sheet tonight and rub it in the Panthers' face. And there's a bang-bang play with a shot by RNH. That one sizzles past the net. Bobrovsky not forced to make a save, but Edmonton is ahead by 4 on the shot board, 21-17. Again, 4-1 Panthers. Marchand does a little dipsy-do, gives a little 360 spinorama near the penalty box as he tries to hold on to the puck. Unable to do so. Oilers will back it up behind their goaltender. Skinner tries to create a bit of a screen out in front, and it's successful for the moment. The Oilers looking to stretch this thing into the neutral zone, and the puck will bounce all the way. No icing, in fact, as there were players in the Panthers zones. That's a rare one. A couple of players tied up would have been icing. Now the puck's loose. Skinner has to make a late decision. Skates out, poke checks that puck away. Panthers on the doorstep. It looked like Nosek was in the area. He would have had a free shot on goal. 6:25 to go here in the second period. Pleasure to have you along with us as we have the Panthers with a nice chip pass down one-on-one. There's some good defense by the Oilers. Really nice active single-hand stick by the Oilers of Kulak. And, of course, he is a former Flame as well. I'm just checking him off, guys. I'm just checking him off. Just over 6 minutes to go here as the Panthers are going to maintain possession in their own end. Little back pass to the forward logo near center ice. And there's a nice hip check, but the Panthers will hold on to it. Jones tries to pass it off, can't find his man. That was a nice vision, though. He was looking for Greer a little too far in front. And we have about 5:45 to go here in the second. Oilers looking for answers. Panthers just doing too much. And now we have the stretch pass that misses Draisaitl, and the icing finally comes. So we have a stoppage, guys, and it just still looks to me, you tell me what you think, like it's all Florida right now.
Take it out.
It seems that way. It's all Florida here in this second period, even with both teams fighting for every loose puck. The Oilers may have the advantage in the shots, but Florida controls all things on the ice. You may point for us the stats, but Wayne Gretzky once said, stats are for losers.
John, go ahead and jump in here. I will just kind of merge back into the play-by-play. Any thoughts as the Panthers win this offensive zone draw?
I'm wondering, Cooper, on this side, as you mentioned, these are a critical 5 minutes. You don't want to let this game completely slip away because it already feels like it has. It's only a 3-goal difference, and it is the Oilers, but you can't leave it all on the line in the third. You got to get something now to feel good about the dressing room.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know who doesn't feel good for the Oilers is Corey Perry. He just got checked down a couple of moments ago right near the left side penalty box. The physicality has turned up, and nothing else to be expected here with everything on the line in this Stanley Cup Final, playing for the Cup. So the Panthers now with Verhaeghe have possession, going to look to keep this down low. Goes from Stuart Skinner's right to left, heading down to the ice on his wallet, as John would say, is none other than Brad Marchand. He's got some snow on the backside, but no matter. The Panthers still have possession for the moment until a quick turnover with 4:45 to go. And here come the Oilers. They will dump this one in. It's handled deftly by Bobrovsky. He will drop it off. And the Panthers come the other way. Nice interception there. Stepping in front of that thing is Arvidsson. But the Panthers get it right back. Look, and they're going to keep it in the offensive zone right here. There's a pass off to Kachuk. He's got that far post wired, and there's a good save by the toe of Stuart Skinner. I think Kachuk had it. He was about to raise his hands in celebration, but that last-second flick of the toe saves it. Now bouncing puck from high to low through the blue paint again. There have been a few of those this period. The Oilers have been able to get the puck down low, just nobody there to finish. Just over 4 minutes to go here in the second. Tkachuk's line still out there. The Panthers have it at the moment. Puck is picked up. It's held by Rodriguez. Rodriguez will streak in with Tkachuk on the right. There's a snapshot, and that wrister goes just wide, bounces back around. Panthers unable to get the rebound. It's picked up by Edmonton. Held by the Oilers, and Klingberg will send it long down the ice, and no icing here. Looks like it deflected as Nate Schmidt picks it up in the trapezoid behind Bob. 3:40 in the second. Here come the Panthers the other way. Not afraid to do so. They will slap it in and look to hold. Rodriguez tries to put a check on. A couple of Panthers come together to throw a check on Luosterainen, and now the Oilers come away with a loose puck in the near boards on their own end. Puck is streaking into the far corner. Evander Kane with a nice check. And the physicality, boys, it's going to be part of what we have to talk about in this intermission. Nice job by the Panthers to settle a loose and bouncing puck out in front of Bobrovsky. 3 minutes, 10 seconds to go here, and we will get an icing, beating him to the puck in the... Oh, it's Wallman and Greer, and they're going to have a little something as Wallman loses a glove heading back to the bench.
And this is what the Oilers need off the icing. Right after the Panthers sent it down the distance, the Oilers needed that. But A.J. Greer and Jake Wallman getting into the antics. Wallman was saying, hey, give me back my glove. But Greer's trying to get right into Wallman's head.
And Cooper, as you go into it, I've never seen this before. We got some water in Jake Wallman. He's throwing some water shots on the side for Tkachuk and everyone else, and he's getting a piece of the camera equipment.
I've never seen that. I don't even think the referees would know what to do there. But you know who doesn't know what to do is Corey Perry. He's got the puck in the near boards. A little reverse check there. Corey Perry, of course, not afraid to get physical. He throws a shoulder in on a big number 88 for the Panthers, Nate Schmidt. And then we have a stoppage here. So, guys, we get a replay. The TNT team not pleased. They're chirping as well. The camera team and the reporters are chirping Wallman. This is a new level in the NHL.
Oh, of course, we know the Panthers would not be happy with Wallman spraying water onto the Panther bench. But you know who else is not happy about this? The cameraman. And Brian Boucher, he's not happy with this either. But if I'm a cameraman working for TNT, rink wide and at the side, I too would be upset because that's expensive equipment.
Let me say this as far as the game, because I'm not going to disagree and I can't go on a tangent because I was already laughing enough. But when you're thinking about it and you have the homework assignment or you have your artwork that normally goes in the front of the fridge with the gold star, whether it is for the Oilers, you're going to split in the series anyway, feel good, fine. But at least for Paul Maurice's squad in those 3 days off, Cooper, they definitely understood the homework assignment. I mean, they're following it to a T. This is beautiful stuff.
Yeah. This is. I think we were all using the word special. The Panthers look like they have elevated in a special way tonight. These are both obviously special teams, but when you can find the extra gear when it must be found, that is what makes the difference. And that is what the Panthers are doing in front of our eyes. They continue to elevate. It's not just, we now have a goal lead. We have a 2-goal lead. No, we're going to continue to go. We aren't going to sit back on our lead. We will find spots to make physical contact with you. We will not let you be comfortable. We won't be comfortable until you are done out of the series and we're celebrating back-to-back cup wins.
Mm-hmm.
I still can't get over it. You're about to get the camera shot there, Cooper, but Wallman is spraying Seth Jones across his own bench, and I've never seen that before.
Yeah, Alec, you saw this too. There's an incredible amount of equipment there. We have teleprompters, video monitors, headsets. I mean, they're having some fun with each other. I just love that the chirping now involves the media. This is real stuff.
I can't believe that we just saw that live in action. What?
I mean, you know what? And John, it was back when you and I were calling games. I know this happens when you and Alec are calling games. I love it that it's happening when there are all three of us. There is truly always something we've never seen before. It's just so, it just puts a smile. You can hear, I hope you can hear it. I got the smile on my face right now. Love doing this with you guys. I know the Oilers, though, on the other side of the equation, not loving what they're experiencing right now. down 3. It's 4-1 Florida, even though the Oilers are up 21-19 on shots. The Panthers have looked to be the better squad tonight. 2:15 to go here in the second. Cooper Hopkins for a little bit longer on your play-by-play. We got Alec Nava on the color along with John Ott, and we have another icing. So after some extended play, guys, we're getting whistles here toward the end of the second.
Paul Maurice, 42-22 in the postseason with the Panthers. He's having the bulk of his postseason success here in Florida with the culture already established and Bill Zito already having built the bulk of the team already. He was with the final pieces that was the spark of this turnaround.
And it's hard to believe. I know we're going to have to move some things around with Bennett and figure that out, but this team is largely in place. And the salary cap, as you mentioned, for the whole team is going about $7 million the next 3 seasons. The Cats are in a good spot. It really is hard to go 3 journeys in a row, but man, oh man, do they look good today.
You're absolutely right. And we had another stoppage here after the ozone draw for the Panthers was won by their opponent, the Oilers. That puck pinballed straight to Bobrovsky. He did have to cover up, try to get rid of it, but the whistles went. So we'll have a face-off, I believe, to Bobrovsky's left.
If all the postseason heroics that Sam Bennett is having, I would imagine that with the price tag he's going to command, I feel the Panthers, they may keep Ekblad and they may keep Marchand, but Bennett is getting closer and closer every day to pricing himself out of the Panthers' plans.
Yes, indeed. Sorry, John. Go ahead here. Go ahead.
No, Vander Kane only has one thing on his mind, Cooper. You're going to get this on your play-by-play.
I'm expecting something good here in a moment, as the Oilers did have kind of a moderately paced shot that made it straight to Bobrovsky, turned aside easily. But the Oilers with some ozone time here. There's a slapper that is gloved down, Kane right there, and he's going to mix it up with Ekblad. Is that what you're talking about there, John? Because Kane's right in the middle of everything.
Yeah, he has not stopped. I credit him full marks throughout this entire game, Cooper. He's been everywhere.
Yeah, he's been all over the ice, especially the net front. His main goal is to cause chaos, and he wants to deflect the shot from right in front of the net, and Bouchard loading it up. Kane, he might have got a stick lifted when trying to deflect the shot. Good piece of business by Aaron Ekblad to lift Kane's stick to make sure he doesn't deflect this puck, and it lands right onto Big Bob.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm getting the slow-mo replays right now. I know you guys just had them, but that was one of Bobrovsky's better saves of the night. That was through multiple wickets there on the shot by Bouchard, just above pad level. I think the shot may have been going wide, but either way, Bobrovsky cannot take the chance with players of this caliber on the other side. So we're going to have a wave out here, and guess who steps in to take the offensive zone draw for Edmonton? That's McDavid. The puck is initially won by the Panthers, but that thing's going to bounce around with 90 seconds to go here in the second. Now it's on the far corner side, and it's poked along to Ekblad. Ekblad looking for a teammate, going to try to angle this puck up and over, unable to do so. It was stick down beautifully by the Oilers, but the Panthers will opt for a change here. So 1:15, and it's Bouchard with that shot we were referencing just a moment ago. He's looking for that quarter angle pass, a 45-degree pass over to McDavid, but it bounces off of the skates. And so it will be taken away by Florida out of their own zone, 3-on-2, partial the other way, but there's a little crowd by the player benches. So Panthers not able to come away cleanly, but they do have possession inside a minute to go here. McDavid tied up what looks like Luostarinen, and there are going to be multiple players coming together, including Darnell Nurse. That's the first time I've said his name, and he checks one of the Panthers straight down, and that looks like it could have been. Oh, and there's a shot to the face of one of the Panthers, and pardon me for not getting the number. That's Lundell, as both Nurse and Wallman absolutely giving the business to Florida in the corner.
That's a frustration penalty, point blank. Darnell Nurse wants to shove Anton Lundell out the way, but he's not even fighting for the loose puck. He's just trying to just shove him right towards the boards. That's completely unnecessary. That's a case in point frustration penalty, and you cannot do that.
Cooper, I'm going to say this. I want to be as professional as I can here, because Wallman got the punch in the face on the other side. And I know there's been some stuff between Bennett and Kachuk and Skinner and all that before. Darnell Nurse, get him the hell out of here. That's 4 cross checks in the row in the back and then a hit in the face. What's he doing?
That is poor decision making, and that's the most polite way I can put it. That's the definition of cross checking. Multiple times in a row, Lundell goes down on the 4th attempt. And now we're seeing Wallman again barking across past the media at the red line. Mikkola is in on this, trying to understand what's going on. Again, we got the cameramen, the commentators in on it. But boy, Lindell really got the worst of it. Wallman even got a left straight in on him. He got a full punch in. So let's see what we got here. Florida on the power play, and rightfully so. Just a foolish play by Darnell Nurse. And as I was mentioning, the first time I mentioned his name is period. And, of course, he makes that mental error and puts his team even further in arrears. So 30 seconds here as the Oilers are able to send this puck out of their own zone and down to the big glove of Bobrovsky. He sets it up for the Panthers, who will try to quarterback this power play, get something going here. Can they score one more before the time elapses in the second? 18 seconds to go here. The Oilers get the puck on their stick and are able to just chop this thing out in between the blue lines. It'll be collected, and we'll see if the Panthers try to make one more rush with 10 seconds to go in the middle stanza. 4-1 Florida. Going to get one more before the whistle goes. 1:20 on the power play. But the Oilers will take over, and there's one more check for good measure as the Panthers won't get a shot off. But the horn will sound, and that's going to be it for the second period. Guys, 4-1 Panthers. There's a shot of Sam Bennett. He deserves that close-up. He was the star of that period. The Panthers will still have 1:16 on the power play when we come back from the break, and things are getting heated. Looks like the screws are coming just a little bit loose for the Edmonton Oilers tonight.
What's your thoughts, Alec?
Yeah, the screws are coming loose because that period, the Panthers continue to show who really runs the second period. There's been only one time which the Oilers have had a free goal comeback this season. That was a game against the Colorado Avalanche. They trailed 3-0 in that game. They won 4-3. The Panthers, though, different animal. You're not coming back from 3 goals against the Panthers. You may come back from 2 goals down, but 3 goals down, essentially that's good luck to you. 3 goals, I feel the Panthers, they may defend that. And they know that when it's a 3-goal lead, especially in the third period, you don't see that happen against the Panthers because they know how to defend it. The Oilers are putting themselves right into a trap that they ran themselves into. That's the third breakaway goal they've given up in 2 games in the Stanley Cup Final. And John Klingberg on that Reinhart goal, he held onto the puck for way too long. When you have Sasha Barkov on your face, that's a recipe for trouble. And even though Corey Perry had that goal, that second period was the definition of trouble. The Darnell Nurse penalty showed as such.
Well, John, I know you're about to jump in here. I don't want to frame your comments for you, but I just want to set this up for you before you begin.
Sure.
You've seen a lot of hockey games. You care about hockey, I think, in a unique way. You think about hockey in a unique way. Alec and I, I'm not saying we don't, right? We're fans. We think about the stats. We think about these players. We think about the context. We think about what's at stake. But John, for you, I'm really curious here. What do you think we are seeing unfold? Is it something that is just happening tonight? Is this something that is indicative of something greater, a direction for the series? That's what everybody wants to know. Are you getting a sense of that either way, or are you still holding back? Do you need more information to make a call like that?
Well, let's say the honest, we don't need more information for tonight, but I do think a beatdown like this has propensity to carry in 3 nights from now because, look, as we said, the Panthers, they took their 3 days, master game plan. Hey, we're only 4-3 in home ice. We need to be better. Check mark box. Everything for the Edmonton Oilers. I was going to say this honestly during the first, and I know it would have been silly, but when Evander Kane was going after Matthew Tkachuk and Tkachuk ended up going away, well, hey, you know what? The game's already over at that point because the Panthers have their subdued control. Because right now, the Edmonton Oilers look like they're going up against Bigfoot, the monster truck, and they're the Kia Sorento with the check engine light on. This does not look good for them. And I know it's one game, but we were waiting, as you said, Cooper, for a contest that was going to be in regulation, one team taking control, everything else on a nice edge, and the Panthers come back and say, hey, this is ours. And look, one more point. 24-18, 22-20, 26-17, all advantage shots, hits, face-offs. But those stats don't tell you what we're seeing with our 4 eyes. I think the Panthers might be finding their way. And if I'm the Oilers, third period comeback was standing, as Alec mentioned. 3 goals? Not happening today. You got to get a much better effort. You got to figure it out quick because they got whooped today.
Game 4 may be exactly that because the Oilers, they have been undefeated in Game 4s in the when Chris Knobloch was head coach, but nonetheless, against the Panthers, that might be the biggest challenge. Home ice, of course, may dictate that story. If the Panthers, they establish themselves as the class of the NHL, the Oilers, they need to go back to the drawing board because something is not working for them. They're turning over the puck way too much. It's been evident in these first 3 games. Yes, they won one of the 2 at Rogers Place, but they've been turning over the puck way too much. It's not that the fact that they've won, it shows that they can catch up with the Panthers, but you have to have better puck control.
Cooper, I want to get your thoughts, because was I too direct? Because I feel like that's what I'm seeing.
No, I appreciate it, because I think that there's a lot of truth in that. And listen, we all have seen enough hockey to know that there's not a 0% chance that the Oilers could get back into this thing and win it. But boy, I have not seen a game between these 2 teams, and we've seen a lot of games between these 2 teams. There hasn't been one like this. It would take such a turn of the tables that I just can't imagine it happening. I can imagine no circumstance with this happening. I mean, we would need multiple lucky bounces. We would need potentially a 5-on-3. That level of mental lapse for Paul Maurice's team, I would just not put any money on any of those kinds of things happening. I would only expect the Panthers to continue to lock this down. They are looking like world beaters tonight. And you know what? The Oilers looked that way for at least several periods through the first couple games of this series. But tonight, it's been, I would give them 80% of the first period, if I'm being conservative, maybe 2/3 of that first period, it's Panthers. And then, I mean, we could just pull it out of thin air, 90+% of, I'm not saying, again, we pointed it out during the play-by-play. I'm not saying the Oilers didn't get the puck down low. I'm not saying they didn't make Bobrovsky make some saves. He certainly had to. But I never, ever felt like the Panthers were in danger. It was always the Oilers on their heels.
Let me say this honestly. When we talked about it last year, and we did the preview shows and all that, I'll be completely point blank. I didn't say this during the time, but there was no inclination, even when the Oilers forced Game 7, that I thought the Panthers were going to lose last year. I know they got injured against Vegas. They found a way to get it done. And to Cooper's point, Florida Panthers go up 3-0 last year. They lose Game 4 8-1. They get absolutely trounced, but yet they had a 3-0 series advantage. And this type of game where it's pivotal swing and it's 2-1, I think it's so much more important at that time. Yes, Edmonton was fighting for their season, but this is the first time I've seen the Panthers look as good as you mentioned, and the Oilers feel like they don't have answers, or that they're just flat and focusing on the physicality, which, as you said, Alec, plays right into the Cats.
Exactly. At the Oilers, the only thing we've seen for them is hits, not a lot of finishes. Their best chances came all the way back at the first period. Yes, there's the Perry goal. But that first period power play, or 2 of them for that regard, those were missed opportunities.
Cooper, in Game 2, I saw some of the stuff from fans, admittedly, and maybe some personnel as well, as they're showing a breakaway goal from Sam Bennett that you're going to get probably another 30 seconds. But they were throwing Stuart Skinner under the bus in terms of the 5-hole goals there from Brad Marchand, especially in the one in the end. Oh, man, he's got to have that. If we had a better goalie, this would be a different series. Dude, if you didn't have Stuart Skinner before that when Calvin Pickard went down, you might not even be in the Stanley Cup Finals.
100%. 100%. I tried to reference this even in a brief moment during the second period, which is a fun one. I mean, thanks, boys. I got to send you thank you cards after giving me that period. But you know what, John, you make a great point. That, you know what, media, fan, you can say what you want to say. It's almost always, it's the easy way out to single out a single player. Sometimes there is a significant mistake, a significant moment that can be traced directly back. It's on video. It's obvious. Everyone in the arena or on television can see it. That is not what we're seeing with Stuart Skinner. I mean, you want to talk about the Verhaeghe goal? That was a sniper snipe. That was a literal perfect hockey shot, and Stuart Skinner could do nothing about it. Perfect fundamental position, shoulder high, moving side to side, fluid movement, rapid movement just gets beaten, right? That's what we're talking about. Sam Bennett, it's a breakaway. It's Sam Bennett who has having arguably the best season and certainly the best postseason of his career. Guess what? You're going to get beaten by number 9. Number 9 in soccer, that's your number 1 goal scorer. Well, he's taken on that role in these playoffs for the Panthers. So let's not pin it on Stuart Skinner, even though the Oilers will have that lingering question. I don't think we can ask that question tonight.
No.
Yeah, no. We're not asking that question for Stuart Skinner. None of those goals were actually his fault. We could, Sam Bennett, of course, there's a breakaway. He would finish that. And Sam Reinhart, who gets a grade A feed off the takeaway from Barkov, Carter Verhaeghe, finds Reinhart wide open. Makes no mistake about that one.
So let's give you the reset. I just got a little visceral look in the terms of Bennett. Again, you want to talk about scored goals. He comes back off the rush. He gives a cross check to the neck to Mr. Leon Draisaitl. He's making everybody feel his pain. On top of scoring that goal, you get the double hit into the right side boards on 2-0. You know what? Can I just give Sam Bennett $13 million courtesy of Steve Eisman? Let's just get it over with.
Yeah, that's what he's looking at here. I mean, I think there was some doubt that he would be getting a double-digit offer. I think 10 is probably the floor for him now after this kind of success. The last thing I'll say just about Sam Bennett, since we're seeing that replay, maybe this is me projecting, hoping this is true. That's probably part of it. I try to be self-aware. But Sam Bennett, you know what? These guys came up in the Pacific Division playing for the Calgary Flames. They saw a ton of Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. And you know what? On those Calgary Flames teams, yeah, sure, those Battle of Albertas, they're always intense. There are a few of them every year. And the Oilers generally came out on top. That leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Now they're on a different roster. It's the most powerful roster in the NHL. They can make a difference. They want to be a big part of it. You cannot tell me that's not coursing through Sam Bennett's veins on a night like tonight.
I love that technique, Cooper, honestly. It's not just because we worked all those games together. I see it. You see the passion in their eyes from all that's represented. And at this point, and when you're on an opportunity, as you said, to play with a team as balanced as this, it allows you to showcase everything that you can do at the best of your ability. And that's what we're seeing today. Let me get into the reset here, and then I'll leave it to Alec. On that second period, it's Corey Perry with his 9th on the power play from Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm. It was power play carryover time from Anton Lundell, rough against Evan Bouchard. And at that point, it was a 2-1 game, just a minute 40 into the second stanza. But after that, this thing just completely came off the rails for the Oilers. Sam Reinhart with his 5th. That's an excellent setup there, and alongside for Carter Verhaeghe, who's already got a goal and an assist. And then Sam Bennett, I mean, he was a machine, hitting people all over the place, creating a 2-0. Again, another point for the third liner, Eetu Luostarinen. How much money do you expect the third line guys to get? Because if you're the Panthers, that's the Elmer's glue. You can't let them go. Sergei Bobrovsky, not lost in all of this, gentlemen. Terrific. 23 of 24. And I know Stuart Skinner's numbers look rough at 15 of 19, but I'll be the first among both of you boys again to say, not on him today. We'll see what the Oilers can do in the third. But essentially, again, I guess the best thing for them will be 3 nights from now. When they pull us back up in the preview show, we'll be back on the air Thursday, June 12th, after this is all done. Panthers took the first 3 days, re-energized, and put their foot on the gas and dominated. The Oilers are going to have to do the same, dominant or not. They're going to have to find a way to get a split.
They have to. Game 3, of course, we can say that it could be a loss for them, barring an unprecedented comeback, but we don't see that happening. But nonetheless, get back to the drawing board because the turnovers are the big issue. The Panthers, of course, with the balanced attack. The growing trend here is that teams with taller defensive lines usually make it to the Stanley Cup Final. We saw that with the Lightning. We're seeing that again with the Panthers. Jones, 6'4", Ekblad, 6'4", Migwa, 6'5". Every defenseman on the Panthers is 6'0" or taller. That includes Bolinskis, who is the 7th defenseman, 6'0". Jacob Megna, healthy scratch, 6'6".
A lot of size, a lot of grit, sandpaper, and you know what? I'll just say this again as easy as it is. Paul Maurice, maybe at the time, and from the Winnipeg Jets and all that, I don't even know if he was their first choice for Bill Zito, but he goes ahead, he makes the trade in alongside for Matthew Tkachuk. They bring in those guys, they imprint their system, and almost immediate success for a team that was looking for it since 1996 when they got swept by the Avalanche.
Every so often, guys, it just happens. And you know what? We can explain a lot of it. We can look at moves, roster moves, GM choices. We can look at draft position, draft capital. We can go back through all the years. But sometimes there's also just that inexplicable magic, too. And Maurice, when he got to Florida, it was just something different. We saw that. Alec, you pointed it out in the overall record. His success in the playoffs coming almost exclusively with Florida, and it just was the right fit, and we're seeing the proof in the pudding right here.
We could be seeing Sergei Bobrovsky also as the present-day Patrick Waugh, an aging goaltender who is still aging at like fine wine when it matters in the postseason. Started off rocky. He was excellent previously in his previous go-arounds. But the difference is Waugh won Stanley Cups with the Montreal Canadiens. Bobrovsky had his first taste of success in 2019 with the Blue Jackets, then got a handsome payday with Florida. Slow start, but under the right system, he got back into form in the postseason.
Yeah, he looks unbothered in that camera shot, getting some potassium, eating the banana. Again, 23 or 24. Again, you talk about that contract over the years with the $10 million. As soon as he's done, Cooper, he's going to be an instant Hall of Famer, multiple Vezina. I don't know what more you can say about Sergei Bobrovsky. He's one of the most decorated in the world.
Yeah, this success doesn't happen without him. I think it's that simple. Yeah, again, we could go into any amount of detail, like we just were talking about with Paul Maurice. Any stat we need to support us that's there. But you know what? It's just as simple as saying the Panthers are a different team without him. They don't have the same amount of success without him. And I love to see him playing at his top level of confidence, because when he's doing that, you know, good things are happening in front of him. And that's exactly what's going on tonight. We're seeing the skaters in front feed the goaltender, who feeds the skaters, who feeds the goaltender. That energy is getting positive and more positive for the Panthers as every second ticks off.
I know as we're going to get settled there for the third, I want to give you gentlemen a fair warning, as Cooper did. So I'm probably 45 seconds ahead of Cooper, about 15 seconds ahead of Alec. I will take the third period if you guys want, but if not, I can be a passenger today to stop down some of the delays. Or we can keep it all fair, and I'll take 20 minutes.
Let's keep it fair.
All right.
Yeah.
I appreciate
100%. We got to hear John Ott's sweet call in the third period. No question.
Well, at least I'm glad that we gave you guys the first and second period, so now I'll be able to give hopefully the victory lap here for the Panthers, but I can't take anything for the third period withstanding. I will say this, for as bad as the things have gone for the Oilers, from what we've seen in the third, I would not be shocked if this gets very, very close to a one-goal game. It might hit it. If the Panthers don't find anything at all, that's what it would take. They would have to be goalless in the third. I do think the Oilers find a way to get a couple, and maybe the Panthers get an empty netter. Am I completely crazy, Alec, or are they already dead in the water?
I think you nailed it, that the Oilers could find a way to make this interesting at the very least. But the wounds of the first two periods come back to bite them, and the Panthers, they could get an empty netter if we're going to look at a realistic scenario.
Yeah, and I'll come at it from the other direction, but agree with you both. I'm going to say that I think the Panthers need to score at least one more time.
Okay.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, the Oilers are going to come roaring back right away or even get close to tying it or anything like that. I just think the Panthers need to put this game away. And that could come after the Oilers score. I think it might be 4-2. I mean, even if things get really wild, it might be 4-3. Let's just put it out there now. I'm saying that fifth goal for the Panthers, it'll be significant.
That's what I think, too. I think that's what we'll get. The action's not going to be done just yet. Again, we talk about the Tkachuk watch and everything else that you need to have happen. Again, he's got a +1. He's got 3 shots. He hasn't been a passenger. He's been playing hurt and all that stuff, as he's been over the last couple of seasons. But when you have an excellent team around you, all you need to do is your job, and that's what everyone has been able to do now. So I'll get squared away, admittedly, as this third period starts. Florida Panthers have a power play that's extended about 1:05 as Tkachuk lost the puck for a moment. This one bounces up into the air and go toward the right side boards. Janmark takes a hit and try to make a play. And now the Oilers, immediately for them, they've got to be able to kill this, and I don't think they can wait at all on this 20 minutes. Bobrovsky get a long time to hold. as this one will get punched off the glass. And an opportunity for Seth Jones. Again, that 50% retention looks pretty good as he gets to sit on that second line and, again, do his job. That's all you need to have in between this team because everybody takes care of their business. And that blue line goal scoring that we've seen between these two has been so prevalent as this one gets slammed down off the glass. Bobrovsky now will leave. Sent back in behind the end boards again. The Panthers, as this shifts to Sunrise, they've started every series on the road. And this is a swing game. Mikko Mikkola on the right side corner off the hold from Kulak. And this will be stick lifted for a moment. Lusterinen trying to make life difficult. Step up for Lindell. This pass goes in the right side boards. Kulikov off the hold. Runs into Brad Marchand. And this will go back down the ice. Right at center ice, Mikko Mikkola hit this one off the kick play with the slap shot as Brad Marchand gives chase. His goal that opened the scoring was a significant one. It started right away. Panthers have a 4-1 lead. Again, it was a 56 seconds for Marchand and then Verhaeghe. As it was 2-0 after one, we will get a stoppage at 18:20 and a slash after the play as we change ends.
The puck was iced, so that was the stoppage. It was not sent it from beyond the red line, but the penalties have been all over the place. Cross checks aplenty. This is the ugliest that we've seen these two teams play. Of course, frustrations being vented out.
Yeah, the physicality, I don't imagine, will be turned down. If anything, we're going to see the intensity continue. And, John, of course, we saw that man advantage expire for Florida, but I think that's the way they wanted to start their period. Just make the most of that extra attacker, the extra man on the ice, and try to get as much time off the clock as possible.
Yeah, and again, they got the one conversion that they needed to for Verhaeghe because, again, it was about a 3.6 at home as far as their conversion rate. They got a lot of opportunities there with the goaltender interference with Bobrovsky. They pop one away. I think they get something to feel good about, move forward, keep that 3-goal lead. You're absolutely right. As Nate Schmidt on the backhand gains the red one. This is Tkachuk. A little bit of a soft chase. As this gets thrown over the glass by Stuart Skinner. They got a penalty.
Oh, we don't imagine this happening, but not a lot of times you would see that. Wow. And we spoke at the penalties earlier in this game. We just got ourselves another one. Wow.
Yeah, and we're going to see what happens here. It's another man advantage for Florida. Stuart Skinner, who we just gave some credit to, and rightfully so, makes a big error right now. We were talking about how sometimes there are moments that you can just trace back to one player. If it becomes 5-1 Florida, courtesy of a Stuart Skinner delay of game, it's going to be tough not to point some fingers at the big netminder in white.
They didn't go for the soft chip, the in or on anything. I can't even see. He just airmails it over the glass like he's kicking a field goal. And now this is going to be a power play opportunity for the Cats, who have already had a ton. And you look at it on the side, this will be their 6th opportunity as Carter Verhaeghe. They wave Bennett out of the draw. This will go back to number 9. And the Cats score the power play. All they really need to do is play keep away, not make a mistake. Bennett walks in, snipe opportunity, hits the crossbar as this goes back down across the Cats logo. Sam Bennett, man, if you're Florida, maybe you hope he doesn't score anymore right now in this game because Cooper said he keeps adding that pay raise up there, whoever gets him. This will be a baseball-style snag from distance. It'll force the draw at the left dot.
Yeah, as we were hoping to, this price tag, low-key, if you're a Panthers fan, you're hoping that Bennett doesn't score anymore because that would just only raise his price tag up some more. It's already at that would be $10 million per year being, some would say, the minimum, but I would imagine that if anyone was smart out there, that $10 million would be the cap on what contract extension contract talks would offer because he's a second-line center, which teams would treat him like a first-line center. Why?
Go ahead, Cooper. We got a stoppage.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to say here that we rightfully are continuing to talk about Sam Bennett. Yeah, he almost wired another one. I believe it took a deflection off of RNH's stick, but Bennett just moving so well tonight. For anyone not able to tune in and see this one on the screen, Sam Bennett looks like a true game changer, and he has already changed his game in a major way.
When we get another stoppage, I want to throw something to you, Cooper, that popped in my brain as this one goes cross ice for Hagee. Falls down, bounces up in the air. Shot block of desperation for the Oilers. Schmidt sends it across. He has it now at the top of the key. Slap shot airmailed from Erod. Haven't called his name. Here's another wrister. This one will hit the glass, goes up and out of play. Now, I want to say this because you got a chance to watch a lot what the Flames has been as we get some pushing and shoving. I didn't know he could do so well on skate entries. Sam Bennett is really good at getting in the zone and actually using his hands. We've seen that throughout this series.
Yeah, no question. He's played with some incredible players in his career, too, where the expectation is, hey, you got to be able to move, get to the spot, get yourself ready for a pass, or deliver the pass. He can skate, he can shoot, he can score, he can check. He is a hockey player, big time.
And Jake Wallman, he took that one right towards, right towards the groin, that shot block from Carter Verhaeghe, and he fell down doing so. But that was one that Wallman, he was looking towards. Ooh, that's got to hurt for a Wallman, taking one towards the groin.
Yeah, Wallman's had some tough shot blocks, especially in game one off the instep of the skate as well. We've seen that for Ekblad. Pass it across the bumper. Yes, sir! It's Ekblad. What a goal!
Pretty puck movement all around, and Aaron Ekblad all alone, left circle, all through as this puck movement was up and key for the Florida Panthers. This game possibly may be over with that goal.
It certainly seems to be. I'm getting this in real time for me, guys. I'm getting the delay action on my side. And again, thanks for bearing with me. John, first of all, great call. Second of all, what an incredible no-look behind the back pass by Reinhart. Ekblad absolutely lasers it home. Full meltdown mode here for the Oilers, and the celebration on for the Panthers.
And Sam Reinhart looking like Steph Curry, Alec. That's disgusting.
That is amazing. What a pass from Sam Reinhart. Pick number 2 to pick number 1. Woo, that's pretty.
Boys, we have a development, and I know it's one game. Remember, Calvin Pickard was 6-0. I mentioned this in the Stanley Cup preview show. The last tandem was Kemper and Pavel Francouz. We haven't seen Pickard since then, but welcome back.
It needed to happen. And Skinner has not been helped out, and that's not a strong enough statement. He really hung out to dry on multiple goals tonight. And here comes Pickard. Yeah, this is big time. You know what I just like right here? You may have both seen this, but Skinner giving Pickard a little tap on the rear end with the stick there as a support. And that's two teammates who are helping each other out. You like to see that for the Oilers.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. And Stuart Skinner had himself a rough game 3. At most of the goals that he allowed, that was not his fault. The 5th goal, even though that he had a wide open and net that was given from a cross ice pass from Sam Reinhart, he didn't help himself any matters because that goal was caused by him shooting the puck out of play. It was his own undoing, unfortunately, and it led to this moment.
Lou Serena now for Marchand. He wanted to get a late hit on Kane toward the right side of the glass. Kane is the one that's providing all the vitriol. Here's a good move and alongside off a drop for Draisaitl. As the Oilers try to get in their offense, but 3 cats are in the way. Anton Lundell try to brush his man on the play. Klingberg, walk in, Brown. Good back skate save there for Bobrovsky. Cuts off the angle. We get cross checks away from the play. Forsling loses an edge. He still will throw it in. I wonder if his skate's all right. This will go back and toward the left side. This pinballs intentionally wide for A.J. Greer. Now at the point now from Schmidt. Cats have it in deep. This is toward the left side red line off the spin and turn. Tomas Nosek. He's pinched up against the glass by Wallman. I will say this. If I'm Chris Knobloch, I'm going back into game 4, and I'm putting Klingberg and Wallman on that same pair. I don't know why they ever adjusted, but you can take this game as a mental reset if you want, but then you have to fix it 3 days from now, because if the Oilers do go down 3-1, that will have a completely different narrative for me. And now Kolakov's got to take some punches the other way from Arvidsson, but we'll get a whistle.
Well, yeah, the frustrations are all coming out from the Oilers. They know that they've lost. They know that the Panthers have firm control of this game. And a game that was been this cave from start to finish. Edmonton is just venting frustrations out. And you nailed it, John. That I don't know why that Chris Knobloch decided to break up Wallman and Klingberg together when they've worked so well as a pair together. Why do that? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You put Ekholm back next to Bouchard and Nurse next to Kulak, like it worked out for the first few games of this series.
Yeah, and guys, I will say this, John, I know you're going to jump back into the play-by-play here with the time difference, but I just will say we can actually start to think about another phenomenon, too, in a game that has been this lopsided for the Oilers, when almost nothing has gone your way. Yeah, you got one Perry goal, okay, but you got your goalie pulled, you're getting checked into oblivion, the Panthers are scoring 5 and could be more on you. Is this the type of game, as it gets worse, you can actually just throw into the trash? You don't need to fully evaluate it. Right. You can put it away. Think about that as we continue.
Yeah, you're right about that because, again, it was a 3-0 last year. Game 4 was an 8-1 loss for the Panthers. They gave up 5 goals off the rush. Yes, it went to Game 7, but they finished their job. And you're right, that's what the Oilers have to hope for. But as we mentioned in that second intermission, if it's something that has lingering effects, as I thought about, you might have the door opening because that penalty that Jan marked off the roughing from AJ Greer, that's a cross-check in the punch in the back of the head. That's another silly penalty that already matched up with Darnell Nurse late in the sec. It's inexcusable.
Yeah, totally inexcusable. As from that tangle-up, you can't have that happen. The Oilers, they played right under the Panthers' trap. Yes, the Panthers, they were the most penalized team in the league during the regular season. But you know what the great teams do in the playoffs? They adjust. They keep their heads cool. The Panthers, they may be brash regular season, but they keep their heads cool in the playoffs. That's because they're a great team.
5 assists this series, tied for most with Connor McDavid, is Nate Schmidt. Again, let that one sink in. I've said his praises a bunch of times throughout this series, and he's pretty much close to a vet min. This is another power play opportunity. Cats, good sauce pass. Opportunity now for Reinhardt's already got one. Sends it across the right side. Seth Jones wanted it at the high slot. Barkov tried to feed it out in front for Ekblad. Ekblad now just scored off that gross back pass from Reinhardt as this is settled down off the tip in front. Saved by Pickard. And now Ekblad picks it up near the right circle. All puck possession here for the Cats. It's loose. Here's some hand-eye as this goes to the left side of the glass. Ekblad has to fall down to the seat of his pants, and this will be brushed away. All the Oilers can do is put their tail between their legs and go for a line change. This is picked up now for Tkachuk, wide open to the right side. Back pass, Barkov. Skates it in between off his skates. Back to Reinhardt. Down to the right side, down. Cats. Play it off the wall. Nate Schmidt fires. Big save by Pickard. It was a huge rebound. Barkov gets it to the left side red line. Now to the right dot. It's Captain C and Barkov. He's patient. Gets dispossessed at the last moment and sent back down the ice. John, are with you alongside Alec Malva and Cooper Hopkins. We've all took a period here. I guess I'll get the victory lap. I'm glad to give the boys the brunt of the action from the start when it mattered because now the Cats, they've been putting the claw down for a while. As this one's sent the other way, Kulak, he takes a hit off Pickard's pass to the right of the glass. Nate Schmidt off the steal. Spin. Here's Marchand. What a floating pass, but that is offsides for Lindell. Good idea, though. The shot board is now even at 26. We will take a TVTO.
All domination by the Panthers throughout this game, and it continues onwards.
Yeah, it does seem, guys, that, look, we're looking at still a little over 12 minutes to go here in the third. It does really feel like a foregone conclusion here. The Panthers are not letting up either. Still throwing hits, still playing hard. Of course, not converting on the last power play opportunities, but just looking like the more dominant team. And again, I don't need to hit the button too many times, but can the Oilers chalk this up to just an anomaly, right? This is not who they are. We can look ourselves in the mirror and go, that was just a big piece of you-know-what, and we can throw it away and forget about it. We'll see. We can only wait until our next contest, but for tonight, it really has been all Florida. It's been impressive.
Yeah, it really has. Again, Alec had mentioned this too. I think this is the best game that we've seen from the Cats and their collective. And look, the road has not been easy because, let's face it, if it wasn't for a couple 6-1s, and I hate to go back because it seems like an eternity in the time machine, the Maple Leafs lost Games 5 and Game 7 at Scotiabank 6-1. They could have been the ones playing in the Stanley Cup Final. And at that point, no disrespect to the Maple Leafs, if they got to that point, the Oilers might already be close to celebration mode in this series, but that was not the case. The Panthers got it together when they really had to, losing the first 2 games on the road, bouncing back, and getting the most dominant home effort that we've seen so far.
Oh, and thinking back to that, those 2 games between Florida and Toronto, I'm saying, don't remind me for multiple reasons more than one. That's depressing.
Cooper, I will say this. Alec and I were on the call for Games 5 and Game 7. We've covered a lot of games, and I'll include you, Cooper, on that side because we started together on the Colorcast side. Those were the 2 worst games we've ever covered in our lives.
it's you know what though, it's fun to look back, right, guys? I mean, we've done this a lot, duos, you two, John, us two, and then of course as a trio. And yeah, it's always fun to look back. There's some that are clunkers, there's some that are just incredible and unforgettable. And John, you and I, we always reference really exciting games. But we talked about the Rangers in the playoffs several years ago. We talk about the Avs and even the Kraken. It's teams that aren't in it right now, but who's in it? It's these teams are back in it again. The rematch is on, and man, the Panthers just relentless against the Oilers tonight.
Yeah, I've been waiting to see this type of effort here for the Panthers, what they can do. But look at it here. At least 1 goal in 1 to 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. You got Eisman, Getzel, and Marchessault. But then Brad Marchand and Sam Bennett in 2025. And I will say this about Brad Marchand. I think you get a chance to put him on a third line with a team that's this loaded. You knew that they were going to get production, but I'd be remiss as he goes to the penalty box now. I don't think it's going to matter. I didn't think Brad Marchand was going to be this good with the Panthers. I knew he was going to bring the rat-like intensity as he got a hold on McDavid, but he's been unbelievable.
He has. And it might be a closer race than we imagine if Florida does end up winning the Stanley Cup between Bennett and Marchand for the Conn Smythe Trophy. We know the big guns for the Oilers on the 1-2 race for the Conn Smythe Trophy if they pull this one off. But if it's Florida, I think it's tight between Bennett and Marchand.
I was going to say, if Bennett does win it, does he get another $500,000 in his paycheck?
I guess. That would be the case, yes.
It's another mega yacht. He's just every goal, every and another yacht. It's another vacation home. Count them up, Sam Bennett. You earned them.
This is toward the right side. Good reverse hit from Nico Mikkola. It's a power play here. McDavid. He's pasted to the right side of the glass. It's the second time he's got hit heavy. And now Bouchard will hold. McDavid now. I want to see him shoot. Get some of that aggression out. Here's a back pass. Good diving shot block for Tomas Nosek as this one goes down the ice. Now, McDavid can do whatever the heck he wants. He always gets points. But I do like seeing him unleash that shot, especially I would say the same thing for Nathan McKinnon as this goes back down the other way. 55 seconds and off the chip. Ekblad now, we'll see this go against the glass. 3 Oilers, and the conversion on the puck, can't find it. Sam Reinhart, this is dispossessed from Evander Kane, falls back to Bob. We'll just gently stick it aside. Rim around the end boards, kept in by the Oilers. This is a must score, but I don't even think it's going to matter even if they do, because the deficit's 4. Klingberg, now on the right side. Here's a hop for RNH, as this was sent back from Evander Kane. Klingberg, he waits toward the right side, lets it go, but Broski fights it off. He's been so good in this game, which cannot be lost in all of this. Sent back intentionally off the post. Here's an opportunity. Take out Klingberg, does force sling, one of the very best. Can't believe it was a waiver claim. As this is sent down, gloved down by Barkov. Captaincy, reigning Selke Trophy winner, as this one gets sent back down. Picked up now for John Klingberg one more time as the crowd rises to their feet. And for Edmonton, they never gave them a reason to sit down. That's part of the reason why it's 5-1. The shot board tied at 27. Sent the other way now for Schmidt. Hits it off the glass nicely. Kachuk trying to find it off the rush. We'll send it wide and around the inner round for Bennett. Chips it off the glass deep for Chuck E. Cheese. He gets tied up and alongside Darnell Nurse. Bennett finishes another hit. That's his 7th. As this goes to the right side of the glass. Kulikov keeps it in. And now there's a massive humanity near the players' bench. Wouldn't be surprised if we see more. Broken stick. And now a bear hug against Bennett. He takes down his man. That starts throwing punches. Here we go, gentlemen. Now the referee's on top of it as well.
it's a shame that my HBO Max stream decided to lag at the worst possible time because it seems I'm missing out on haymakers left and right. What are we witnessing?
It's Nurse. I'm sorry to interrupt you here, Alec. It's going crazy. Trent Frederick. We're getting a brawl. AJ Greer still throwing other sides. Listerine. Cooper, he gave you the tail of the tape when you jump in.
Oh, I'm not sure there's even any tape for me to read anything off of. All I'm seeing is sticks on the ice, players on the ice, punches being thrown. Sam Bennett was slashed. It broke the stick when that happened. That looked like, if we really want to lean into the controversy, maybe even an attempt to hurt Sam Bennett. We got Gadjevich going at people. Bennett's still locked up with Frederick. This is getting crazy, and all the players are standing up on the bench. I'm not sure what we're going to see after this, boys, but we're going to probably see some full-game misconducts.
They're still letting Gadjevich go as nurses. We were talking about that was a boxing match, and they're still going between Gadjevich, who was giving them rights.
Oh, my stream is lagging out, but man, that is ugly at its finest. This is playoff hockey, and of course, when you think playoff hockey, you think haymakers, and you want guys going at it with each other. They are obviously not done with one another. These are emerging rivals. You think of all the tales of the tape, of all rivalries past. You think Red Wings Penguins in 08-09. You think Oilers Islanders in terms of all-timers, in terms of Stanley Cup Final rivalries. This could be one of them.
Look, I'm going to say this honestly. I mentioned this story to Cooper. I don't know if I mentioned this to Alec. My first game, I was in 5th grade at Joe Louis Arena. It was Avalanche Red Wings. This was the game directly after 98 the next year for the Chris Draper head and Claude Lemieux. It's when Chris Osgood and Patrick Waugh squared off at the center of ice were throwing blows. Now, this was not exactly like that, but as everything was going on, there were 6 different fights on the ice. We're going to have a lot of housekeeping to do.
This is amazing.
Wild times, friends. Wild times. Now we are really seeing it. I think this is what we've seen turned up to a greater degree in instances in Stanley Cup playoff series where a team knows that they are taking a big, old, giant-size L. And that is what is happening to the Oilers tonight. They have been smacked into oblivion in Florida. Far from home are the Oilers right now, and they feel it. What's the only recourse? Drop the gloves, get physical. That's all they could do. And, man, they went after tonight's best player, Sam Bennett. That sparked everything. But you could feel it was ready to boil over. It was coming. I didn't know it would be that intense. And you have to imagine there is more to go. As long as there's time on the clock, even sometimes when there's not time, you know that hands are getting thrown. My goodness, Nurse wearing it, Gadjevich wearing it. Crazy stuff, guys. And we are in it. Stanley Cup Finals, here we go.
Oh, my goodness. You look at Trent Frederick. I'm not trying to be a Sam Bennett apologist. He got hit 6 times. It's like, you know what? You hit me the 6th time, I'm going to go back down and take Trent Frederick and punch you right in the face. And that's what started the full-scale brawl. AJ Greer says, come get some, the Matthias Ekholm, and then Darnell Nurse and Jonah Gadjevich. But at some point, even if you're Bennett, you keep attacking me with a sleeping dog, I'm going to go ahead and knock you right in the grill.
Oh, that was peak theater in the Stanley Cup Final. Oh, my goodness.
I'm seeing this replay again, and we got McDavid and Tkachuk over near the officials in the box between the penalty boxes. We're getting this replay, guys, and it is wild. I cannot even imagine the intensity down the ice, and I would not want to make number 12 in red mad. Gadjevich, he's laughing at Darnell Nurse while throwing uppercuts. That man is a different breed.
We saw that a couple times already. AJ Greer's going to go to the dressing room. They might have kicked him out. And my guess is he had a little bit of hold on the side of the neck near the players' bench at Ekholm as he was feeding them some you-know-whats and some uppercuts. And all that also gives us, by the way, gentlemen, I'll be back on the air Thursday, June 12th. Honestly, I can't wait for that one in 3 days.
And Nurse is gone, too. Frederick's gone. So we're getting wholesale ejections. Greer, Nurse, Frederick, and in the midst of all that fight, this is the action that Panthers fans wanted. That Jonah Gadjevich laugh, That's kind of reminded me of Tom Wilson's laugh.
Yeah.
That's a good reference, Alec. You got a number of those tonight. I love it, man. You are on top of your game, and of course, no coincidence that TNT is saying, "Hey, don't forget, we got more games to come." You're getting real deal hockey right now, so everybody tune in. We're going to be back on these calls as well. Yeah, Alec, you had it a few seconds before I did. It is looked like players coming off of a plane right there. Shut up to the island. And tickets punched, faces punched. We are moving on from this game. Say a number of players on both sides. We'll see who's left to finish out this hockey game here.
Well, we'll be completely honest on the side for Cooper and I about where we lean. Again, we try to keep everything fair as our call as we do. And Alec is the utmost professional, so he just gets to watch this neutral. But I'm enjoying myself today.
Perry's in the box. Ekholm's gone. That's what we know.
Hey, you know what, John? There's something to be said for that, right? I mean, it's sports. We should be enjoying ourselves. This is a heck of a hockey game. Glad to be alongside you guys. My goodness. 5-1 Panthers. I almost forgot what the score was because I was trying to count punches.
Exactly. As this goes in toward the right side boards, again, games 1 and 2 were instant classics. This one has been an absolute flight night. Forget Frazier and Ali. You saw parts of that and shades of that here in the mix of it, and it's been just as good. And the hockey's still been at a premium with the skill that we've saw as this goes back around for Seth Jones. But this, indeed, again, as we've said, as the answer that was much needed for Paul Maurice's squad. They were in no danger in a 1-1 series, but we wanted to see them show out and dominate at home. And to do this against a team like the Oilers, who played the way they played in the first 2 games, really is a surprise, even for as good as Florida is. And now the Oilers are going to need to respond. But as Cooper said, is it just going to be one of those ones you throw away, or is this going to have lingering effects? That's an absolute bomb for Verhaeghe, and it breaks the stick of one of the Oilers trying to block the shot. Still got 8:15 left to go in the third. Whether or not it's a formality, we're going to have fun with it. Send back around the end boards now. And off the lone forecheck, here's an excellent work for Brad Marchand, who tries to split the D, gets upended. And now 30 seconds left to go in the Florida power play. Again, they've only converted one time, but it really hasn't mattered. Gustav Forsling getting worked over at the bench. And now I think the Oilers, all they can do is try to take an extra pound of flesh wherever possible. That's all they're caring about at this point because this game's done. 7:45 left to go in the third. John and with you alongside Alec Nava and Cooper Hopkins, the trio taking in what a spectacle this entire series has been. Marchand's feed right in the slot. Also get picked off. Sent in off the glass, and the power play expires for the Cats. They've now evened it on the shot board again. It was 8-3 Edmonton from the first with that power play advantage. They didn't score. Bobrovsky stood on his head. This should absolutely probably be a 5-3 game at worst. Skinner was pulled in this period. It was not his fault. This will be closed out by Pickard. Another good save there for Bobrovsky. He was near the right dot. As this puck bounced up in front of him, but Bouchard will airmail it into the crowd, and we'll get a stoppage at 7:05.
It's been domination from start to finish, but you think back to the fights, you nailed it. Fight night isn't good enough to describe such as this. It's a beating plus fight night here in this third period. It's haymakers all around.
Yeah, it really is. Again, we were, I wouldn't say spoiled, but I guess maybe over the last 3 years, you can say that. Florida's really skilled offensively. They're really good defensively. They're really good physically. But when you put it all together this way in a game that means this much, this might be the best game I've ever seen them play.
Yeah, John, sometimes it feels like hyperbole, but you know what? That's not a stretch. At this point, it simply isn't. It's just not. And I think that there is going to be real concern. I'm going to turn on that radio tomorrow. I'm going to listen to that Toronto-based NHL Network radio. I think those folks are going to be very concerned because it looks like a gap is widening. We say it again. Doesn't mean the Oilers can't turn it around, but the gap is widening. The Panthers are separating themselves.
Yeah, this is going to be a game that we're going to remember for a long time, and I'll be interested to see those thoughts and across there, Cooper. We can share those and lay that into 3 nights from now, depending on where everything is. Now, again, this year, I will be on board for all of the Stanley Cup Finals games. They got that squared away with other assignments that got going on in the background. So I'm not going to miss anything, no weddings, no nothing else going on this year. It's going to be all business. I want to be front and center on this because I think this series could still go 6, if not 7. Again, for my prediction, I had Edmonton in 6 and said I needed some mouthwash. I wanted to give them some credit. This is one of those games that completely got away, and the Panthers are going to send reminders as Barkov gets pushed to the glass by Kane, who's still giving the business to everybody. Verhaeghe now, and off the spin and turn, Kane then throws a hit on him. He has been all over. I know he's taken a couple penalties, but I will say Evander Kane has been front and center and the best player on Edmonton today. As he hits Verhaeghe hard at the end of the play, he's probably going to the box. Forsling and Bouchard exchange words. That was caught away from our sight lines, but Verhaeghe does pop back to his feet after he was slow to get up and hit in the face.
Ooh, yeah, it's still getting ugly as Evander Kane. He's thrown his body all around the ice all game long. He's at the net front. He's everywhere making big plays, but he's doing so in good and bad ways.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of this. Oh, John, please jump in. Go ahead.
No, he hit Verhaeghe right in the face after he finished off his cross check. He comes back, Bouchard hits Verhaeghe in the legs, and then Kane clips him right in the face intentionally.
Oh, that is not good at all. We talk of Kane. Yeah. Every time we speak praise of someone, just throw that out the window because that, oh my, they're going to review this for if it's a 5-minute major.
Yeah, and this is where we, look, have we been entertained tonight? Absolutely. But did Evander Kane do that deliberately? We're getting a close-up shot here, and credit to the camera crews for this. That looks deliberate, and I believe at this point, we even saw it that led to the fisticuffs that we were so entertained by. We have seen some attempts here to potentially deliberately hurt the Panthers. I know that sounds a little extreme, but there are a couple examples here, and we're going to see what the ruling is. And I believe that Evander Kane is into some serious water here.
Say goodbye to Kane. He's going to the room. Corey Perry's going to serve the other side. Kane's day is done. Cooper, I'm going to jump on it. You can say whatever extremes you want. Again, I know we're not rooting for the Oilers. Oilers certainly have their cause in between Benny and Tkachuk, but what Nurse and Kane have done today have certainly crossed the line, even for that.
Yep, it has crossed a visible line, and you cannot do that against the Panthers.
And you know what it shows me? Not only is it disappointing to see that, and I'm grateful for the Panthers players' sake, certainly Verhaeghe, who was the recipient of that really foul play. You know, not only are we seeing this mistake being made and impacting this game, which is essentially already over, but this is what we're witnessing here, a little bit of the mental weakness on display that has been caused by the Panthers' excellence tonight. And John, I'll let you jump back into the play-by-play. I know you're way ahead of me, but that cannot result in trying to harm other players. I know the biggest trophy in the world is on the line, but that's not what you can do. That's not the way to do it.
No, it's not. Again, I want to talk to your point once we get another stoppage there. But the Panthers, okay, we've seen offense, defense. Now hitting on the other side as they got Tkachuk and a bear hug. This is going to stop the play. Reinhard Ekblad now. Barkov trying to get a piece of it. The Panthers have had enough.
Oh, now we're wondering, instead of how many goals are going to be scored by the Panthers, we're now wondering how many players are going to be left on both of these teams' benches by the end of this game. Not everyone's having enough. We're just wondering if both the benches are going to be cleared up by the end of this game. That it's going to be empty. You know, that's how lopsided this game is. And you know that fight night here, you know that when it's fight night in a game, usually it ends in regulation with both benches being basically empty. I would not be surprised if we only have 2 forward lines on each team left and only 3 defensemen left.
This word has a very negative connotation. I understand that I'm a fan of the rival team to the Edmonton Oilers, but this is starting to feel pathetic. It's feeling desperate, and I understand you need to make some kind of an impact on your opponent when you're getting completely dominated, but now this is it's beyond disappointing. This is a team that cannot stay mentally focused. They did not have the right skill level tonight. They did not have the right game plan tonight. They were trying to physically punish their opponent in a way that is completely inappropriate. Again, guys, really disheartening to see. I just want everybody to get out of here healthy, regardless of what happens in this series. It's becoming a little too much.
I'm going to say this as much as I can. Again, I'll make the honorary statement when we start the season again with the Calgary Flames. Cooper, I already let you in on that. I wanted to mention this. Jake Wallman, former Red Wing, He got 3 sucker punches to the face of Matthew Tkachuk. Now his day is done. You could talk about whatever you want officially for the Florida Panthers in the first couple games in this series. And I'm not saying it as an honorary Flames fan or anything else. Now Edmonton and the fans and everyone else, they've got no moral high ground to stand upon. This is getting ridiculous.
It is. This is becoming way too much of a recurring theme that they're just focusing more on shoving their opponents with the game already over instead of trying to fight back. This is just terrible.
Yeah, John, we'll get more from you in a minute here, and I don't need to continue to pile on. I think we all are in agreement. Obviously, hockey is intense, even in the regular season. When you're playing for it all, everything is just magnified to such a great degree. But we're starting to run out of excuses for the Oilers. This game just really needs to wrap up at this point. We're seeing the 1,000-yard stare to the players that are left on the Edmonton bench. I think they are shell-shocked in a way that maybe they haven't been in a long time, even back to multiple seasons ago. So, John, take it away as we continue here.
Yeah, I'm going to take this. I want to make a key point after it's all said and done and see if you guys agree, but I do think it needs to be said, and I'll do it when I get a stoppage. As a two-man advantage here for Florida, Woolman's day is done. You had a couple other guys all close in the box. I'd have to break up the box score for that. It's not enough time. It'd be a lot in the story to talk about, though. Be set now for Seth Jones. Picked up here from Mikkel. Just try to keep healthy bodies, and thankfully now 3 days from now is when the next game is because everybody's going to need it. Picked up now. Pickard makes the save. Another slash at the end of it. It goes on a play. But this is the point I want to make is this is getting really crazy now. Kapanen and Bouchard want to exchange some words. But this is what I was going to mention. I'll step aside from that for a moment. We've seen Florida play well, offense, defense, goaltending. They've dominated everywhere on the ice. But this is the first time, not the first opponent, this is the first time I've seen Edmonton have their spirit broken because Florida has dominated them so incredibly as Kapanen gets exited on another cheap shot against Luostarinen. He cross-checks him right on the arm, hits him down forcibly, and the refs just scored him out. I mean, this is the worst performance and the most classless stuff I've seen in a while, and I guess it makes me feel good to be a Flames fan, Cooper. I'm happy with this. Man, oh man.
Yeah, I'm getting the replays now here, too, and this is Kapanen on Luostarinen. This appears to be direct attempts. Now, again, I'm not a player. I don't know exactly what it feels like, how hard you have to cross-check somebody to actually physically hurt them. I wouldn't say that's what Kapanen's looking there. But you know what they do know? They know where the pads stop. Yep. They know where to hit somebody to create, enough of an injury to maybe end their night. Maybe not the series, but their night. And that we're seeing they're trying to snipe, they're trying to sharpshoot, they're trying to do it with hits that are illegal, and they're getting punished for it. And there's got to be some kind of discussion about this thing moving forward because how many ejections have there been now? Game misconduct. Are there 4 now for the Oilers? I believe there have been 4 full ejections.
You feel
that's what we got here, Alec. 4 full ejections. You take it away, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah, in terms of ejections, it's Kane, Ekholm, Frederick, Nurse, Wallman, and Kapanen. So it's not 4. I counted 6.
Yeah, 4 just for the Oilers, 6 all told. A slap shot score, Evan Rodriguez. And again, there's another reason to bring out the Rats. They're going to be bringing in a lot. And you know what? I will want to stick around a little bit for the post game because after the mocking from the previous series, in which they tried to shoot the puck at Brad Marchand, they're going to be wearing those rubber rats at his legs as Erod gets his second of the postseason on a cannon.
And what do you know? As we went back to games 5 and 7 of the Florida-Toronto series, what do you know? It's 6-1 the goal total now. But Evan Rodriguez, he needed that one because he's been on a tremendous goal slump leading to this game. That's just second goal of the playoffs. Finally, the dry spell is broken for him. What a time it is for the former Pen.
Yeah, an incredible game. I mean, this is masterclass level stuff from the Florida Panthers, and a great finish from Rodriguez. I mean, of course, when you got the 2-man, you're going to have lanes to shoot. And he made the most of that one going near side. on that low side post to the right of Pickard. But he got all of that thing. Rodriguez, he's got that one wired in. The Panthers have 6 on the board, and I'm just glad that something other than a fight or an attempt to harm a player has happened here. So we'll continue, John, as we get closer to the final whistle in this game.
I do want to say the face that had gone across the TV side of coverage of Leon Draisaitl looks like me when the Stanley Cup Finals are in an off day, because we're going to have to wait 3 more days for this incredible series. I know the score has not been close at all. And Alec mentioned this as this popped back into my brain. Again, another 6-1 against a team like this. Florida just does not stop, do they?
Ah, man. They don't. And nobody would blame them no one would blame anyone if they picked the Panthers to win the Stanley Cup. Both 27s getting broken up of a potential scuffle. But man, this just cannot stop, can it? This is just sad.
Yeah, not even the penalties on the side for Luostarinen. I think they're going to mix up on the other side. So Lusta is going to the box. Cooper, I know there's much more to be done here for the Panthers, and they got a long ways to go before they lift the trophy. But I'm going to say this now. You tell me if you agree or disagree. In the mix of, the Avalanche, the Red Wings, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Chicago Blackhawks of the immediate triumvirate of those dynasties, I know that hardware all needs to be there, but I think the Cats in this team in particular and the team over the last 3 years can also stand that test of time. I mean, this is utter domination.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know the basic truth. We know that they are not winning the Stanley Cup tonight, but when you have a performance this dominant, I think it shakes all expectations of this series moving forward. And hey, something's going on. Hockey in Florida, who knew? I mean, I guess the Board of Governors and Bettman and everybody making those decisions to expand the league way back when, maybe they could see the future, because we had the Lightning with those back-to-back wins, multiple Stanley Cup wins, and getting closer tonight, maybe in a bigger step than we could have ever expected. Florida Panthers inching closer to a potential back-to-back.
I'm going to say this honestly for Chris Knobloch, whether or not it was the players or they choose to. There is no reason Leon Draisaitl and Evan Bouchard need to be on the ice right now in a 6-1 game. I just think that's a complete decision unless the players chose to do that, because you don't want to risk injury, because you might even get more if there's even any players left. I'm just throwing that out there. It's an abbreviated Edmonton power play, because Luostarinen hit against the right side of the glass. He finished off a hard hit into the right side boards, which was definitely a penalty, and that's why he's sitting in there. There is no host of penalties that were not called. And again, in the third, the only reason why we've had so much to break the narrative of my first intermission is because they're all fights, as this puck goes up and on a play. 85 penalty minutes for Edmonton, 55 for Florida, maybe the most all time.
Yeah, combined 140 penalty minutes between both teams. That's just how much of a fight night that it was in that third period. The first period, we can take some of that. Third period, it's just way too much. Felt like the Panthers, they broke the Oilers in this game, mentally.
I'm just doing the math on that, gentlemen. That amount of total penalty minutes right now is 70 2-minute minors. 70. That's insane.
I'm not a math major, and the fact that you throw that out there, Cooper, is like, I look at this and I'm scrolling on the sheet, and admittedly, as plays going on, I'm surprised that the ESPN page under the team stats did not crash. There's been so many. As this is sent the other way, toward the right side boards now. Bouchard rims it around the end. Janmark's out there as well. Abbreviated power play for 5 seconds. Luostarinen in the box. Here's a chip. This one goes down the ice. This game has been over for a while, but the way that it happened here, and I feel bad, at least like Kelvin Pickard does get some time, so I guess that's good for him. But when this series is tied 1-1, the winner of Game 3 is 23-7 across the board. But the absolute masterclass in destruction, I guess I'm glad I used Bigfoot, the Kia Sorrento analogy from that second period, because that's what we saw today. I mean, for Florida to do this again against a team like Edmonton says a whole hell of a lot about Paul Maurice, Bill Zito, and this team. Yes, it's just one game, but does this one game bleed over in the next 3 nights? That's the million-dollar question that's going to be on TV screens and radios everywhere as we're in the final 10 seconds I apologize for the monologue, but I think it's a fitting cap into what's at the end. Corey Perry wants Mikkola. They're just going to let the seconds climb down. That's your final as the rubber rats rain down. 6-1 destruction with fists after. So we'll hold on for a little moment as Tomas Nosek throwing some bombs to Perry, but the refs are trying to close all of it out before they get started. Good luck with all that.
Essentially, yes. Good luck trying to separate these two teams. The Oilers are angry. They know they've lost. They know the game is over. Perry wants to test Mikkola one last time to try to agitate him. But this was a byproduct of the destruction that the Panthers just caused, and Mikkola is just pointing and laughing at the sad attempt of trying to pick a fight. Where was the fight offensively for the Oilers in this game?
Yes.
This was the biggest fight that we've seen from the Oilers all game. Especially that third period, all the fights that they were trying to pick. The Panthers just got all over them through the ice and skated right down on their skin, breathing down their neck.
That's a great point, Alec. Way to put a cap on it. And you know what? I think what we can safely say, if we're going to kind of look forward to a few days from now and beyond, these are two teams. And none of the three, if we all picked a one goal, a nail biter of a finish, it was the exact opposite of that. Even when the game was within at 2-1 after the Perry goal, this game never felt close. Nope. I'm glad the players are getting off the ice here. And my point is this, guys. These are two teams that are in vastly different places as groups, as hockey teams. Mentally, they are in opposite positions. Can the Oilers, after a game like this tonight, after the type of mentality they had, can they even reoccupy the type of mentality that's necessary for them to play at the level of skill to beat these Panthers? And can the Panthers maintain their focus? Can they do what they did again, knowing that they had such a, frankly, easy time with an excellent team like this? I mean, who knew the narrative would go this way? But it's fascinating as we go forward.
Yes, it is. And again, you said it all, and Alec closed it all as well. I really don't have much to add other than the 6-1 destruction derby that we saw. Again, it's another 3-day break. I punched it earlier on the side. Florida completed their homework assignment from the break. They came out dominated on home ice. They showed us what they needed after being just 4-3 in these playoffs. Boy, oh boy, what a master class that was. Chris Knobloch's a fantastic coach. We mentioned it alongside. He's just the second coach other than Scotty Bowman in his first 2 seasons to head coach a team into the Stanley Cup Finals. He's going to have a lot of work to do with his boys, and whether or not they mentally checked out and they just were hoping for a split, you can't hope upon hope now for Game 4 unless you completely reverse the course. And this was so one-sided, I don't think I can even say that as an open narrative anymore. Edmonton, we already knew they're going to have to work for it. They might have to drag their self across the ice. And how much more leadership do you need to put on McDavid and Draisaitl? It's not just on them. It's not on Stuart Skinner. They got to figure out how to score some goals and not walk into the fight night as it was, because it looked like to me after 20 minutes they were expecting an L, and they got handed quite a big one, family size at that.
Yeah. Alec, I want you to jump in too. I'll just wrap up on my last thought. John, you just triggered something in my brain here. This is not me blaming Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl.
No.
Far from it. They have so much responsibility on their shoulders from the moment the puck drops in the regular season to however far these Oilers go, and they are responsible for so much of it. However, they weren't completely invisible tonight, but they were very close to it. That is mainly credit to the Florida Panthers, to Paul Maurice matching up the right players against those players. But they did not contribute tonight in a significant way. They still shone because of their level of ability. They still flashed in moments early on, and then those flashes went out completely. If the Panthers can keep doing that, it is over for Edmonton.
Yeah.
One last thing for you, Alec.
Yeah. If the Oilers, they put up a repeat of what was shown in this game, then the series is over. The Oilers, they need to go back to the drawing board, because The Panthers, they adjusted to what the Oilers just did. That the Oilers, the Panthers, they took advantage of the giveaways that the Oilers put up through these first 2 games and continue building off of that. And for one thing, is that while you take away McDavid and Draisaitl, you can slow them down, not fully contain them. The other key thing is that you also have to take away their options so as to prevent them from doing all their magic. And that's what they did. The only goal they gave up was to Corey Perry at the net front. They didn't let McDavid and Draisaitl do anything on the ice. And that's the best part of all about that for this win for the Panthers.
Yeah, they took control of all facets, as you mentioned, and it looked completely outclassed, especially for a team like Edmonton, who I can't ever remember in recent history ever losing like that. Even for McDavid and Draisaitl era, this is probably the worst loss of their careers. And as Cooper said, it's not on them. But for this to look like that, yikes.
We'll refer back to this one, boys, one way or another, either because of the Panthers potentially squandering opportunities and the Oilers bouncing back in a way that maybe none of us expect at this point. There are a lot of different ways this can go, but we will remember this game. John and Alec, you both said that earlier. I agree with you. Glad we could do it, guys. We did 2 in a row. We got into it. We're watching some incredible hockey, and hopefully we can do it again very soon. There's a lot more Stanley Cup Finals coming. I'm excited.
Boys, I appreciate you both so very much. I appreciate all the times we can work together and cover these games. I know it was a much different scoreline. Still a lot of excitement, and we'll check back in 3 days. Hope you guys be well.